get it right one day. Hey, remember how many times you used to do the messages for your voicemail? It goes something like this. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for locking into another episode of I'll Piss You Off Shortly. This is the podcast where we debate everyday issues, pushing your thought process beyond what's normal. The topics discussed here are meant to be intense, promote growth, and at times may have you feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Me too, a little bit. We may not always agree, and we will more than likely have varied opinions. But with that being said, I can't promise to be your favorite podcaster. Neither do I want to. But I can promise to be transparent, fair, and open-minded. So please, if you think you've got the stamina, passion to debate, analyze, and challenge the normal, please take a number. I promise you, I'll piss you off shortly. Hey, mama, I got a podcast. Hey, I got a podcast. Hey, I got a podcast.
Yes, my dog. This is not a rhyme. It's always been only it's mine. I'm for the head, roll out and say it happen. You ain't gonna get it with this, they take it captain. Close it off, turn it off, and it's soft as nigga. When you do the stop, let's off this nigga. Not this nigga, never make it second. Break you fucking heart, and you get it, what's that? Get at me, I love Philly bitches. Oh my God. Track beats, make for nice back seats. What? Bitches go right here like stallions. Bum, bum. Ass like pow. Bum, bum. Yeah. All good. All good? Is it all good? Is it all right? Let's go!
We good, Joe. We good. Joe trying to get us copyrighted. I know the energy is crazy right now. Like, yo, welcome everybody to I'll Piss You Off Shortly. I had to start with that. Welcome. Some DMX love, man. Welcome to I'll Piss You Off Shortly podcast, best podcast in the world. I don't care what anybody says, on the best network in the world, Clovercrest Media Group, where you can find all the podcasts that's like taking over the charts. So like, I'm Rob Benjamin. I got my co-host Joe Aguirre with me. You already know what it is. It's Monday night, time to kick shit off right. I had to get the right energy going with DMX. You know, everybody prayers to DMX. He's definitely going through it right now. With health issues. I'm not even gonna go into the major details, you know what I'm saying? Because that's not what I want me to be reporting on with DMX, or even, you know what I mean? I want this to be about, like, as we say now in the culture, like giving him his flowers. Like, that's my biggest thing. And unfortunately, you know what I mean? Well, I can't say that right now, but unfortunately, a lot of times in mainstream, we tend to forget, not forget, but we don't tend to give the flowers to those that, like, especially in the entertainment business, that, you know, have brought us through certain struggles, you know. So like certain movies or actors and actresses, rappers, artists, or whatever, like, we get emotionally connected to them, right? Especially growing up. And I had heard, anybody that's not familiar in the rap world, there's a podcast called Drink Champs with rapper Noriega, right? Big rapper in the late 90s. You know what I mean? Grew up in the DMX era, the Nas era, all these guys, right? And he did an interview with DMX recently. And after hearing that interview, it really, like, it made me remember how much DMX was a big, intricate part of me growing up, right? So, like, even early
So I want to say It's Dark and Hell is Hot came out in 98. And then Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood was 98 as well. And then 99 was The Great. You know what I mean? So, but 98, I was 11. But the thing was, like, so my aunt never really let me listen to rap music. I really hated me listening to rap music, right? We were talking about earlier on Divided We Stand about religion, right? Big religious person. So, like, I couldn't really listen to, like, radio music, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, the radio until, like, after 10, like 10 a.m. Like, that's how strict it was in my house, right? So, but for some odd reason, she had a fondness to, like, the story of DMX and, like, his lyrics, you know what I mean? So, like, she loved like guys that had lyrics and like stories and like good, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't have to be the best story, but for some odd reason, my aunt had a fondness for DMX. So he was actually the first rap CD that I was able actually to purchase. Of course, it was edited though, right? But between him and Jay-Z, The Blueprint, I burnt those CDs out. Like, I remember putting them things in my CD, and you know what I mean, in my CD player before the non-skip came out. You know what I mean? When you had to put the portable CD player and just on the bus, like, you know what I mean, headphones on the bus. You know, this is before everybody had the AirPods and all that, right? So like, it was tight, right? It was tight. Just getting that energy and like how I connected, especially with This Dark and Hell is Hot, his first album. So praise to DMX. I wish him the best, but like, it's unfortunate that like this year is the year that like really, you know what I mean? Like, and he was coming out of rehab, and of course, you know, he's always had, you know, it's not a hidden secret, you know what I mean? He's always had a struggle with, you know, substance abuse and, you know, whatever the case may be, in addiction. So it doesn't look good for him, but best wishes to him. And like, I know if he does go, it's gonna hurt. I got to introduce my 5-year-old to DMX unedited. It was just that the energy, you know what I'm saying? But once again, like, my son can listen to unedited music and he understands, right? And we talk about it. So like, we had fun, especially when the news came out. You know, it was me and him that day anyway. So I was like, yeah, let's listen to DMX. Listen, he was like, what's DMX? Who's DMX? And now he's like, I like it. I was like, cool. We're good. So it was nice introducing them to DMX, you know, especially somebody that had an intricate part in my growing up life. But yeah, you have any?
Well, I'll just say, you know, the Rough Riders anthem, dude. That literally, I got on the radio May 5th of 1998. It was when I literally started pulling air shifts, dude. That song. I mean, I worked at a top 40 KC 101 in New Haven.
Anthem was going crazy.
Dude, we played it every hour on the hour. I mean, I love that song. I was like, I love DMX. I didn't know any other songs. Yeah, just that one, but I loved them.
His energy, and that's why I had that clip, right? Like, his energy is just phenomenal. There was another clip that I saw at Woodstock. Sketchy Peasant, I see your comment up there, brother. Welcome to the show. There was a video of him just banging out at Woodstock. And when you look at the crowd, it's a crowd just full of white guys. I mean, white kids, right? And just white people, and they verbatim, and you know, Woodstock. So like, if you're a small town act and they're not singing with you, you're not going to be able to hear that. But you hear them going, you see the mosh pit going crazy, and DMX is just like, in my eyes, the way I perceived it was like, holy shit, I got all these white people going crazy for my song. Because once again, this was in those like MTV spring break days, late 90s, where you know what I mean, that's where you went. You went to the Woodstocks, you went to those big old jams and festivals, and like, he was off with it. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah. So definitely wish DMX speedy recovery. This one definitely hurts. And yeah, so if you definitely you can see in rotation for the next couple of weeks. And I've been putting all his albums in my story too, just because, you know, got to give him his flowers. So, and then also with music, do you know about the verses, like the verses battles, since we're talking about music and like legends?
Don't believe I do.
Okay, bet. So like, all through quarantine, well, in the beginning of quarantine of when COVID started, right? Are you familiar? Swiss Beats, big time producer for DMX, right? Like, was right. Swiss Beats and Timberland. They did like a beat battle through Instagram Live, and they called it like their versus battle. So like, and they did it before a couple times, but like, this was like, in the heat of COVID, everybody sitting at home. They got on Instagram Live. Swiss Beats was in his car. Fucking Timbaland's in the studio, and they're just going beat for beat, song for song that they created, and created an uproar. So now they've been able to take this to a whole nother extent. They did a deal with with Apple not too long ago, and now they just did a deal with Triller. So they go head to head. It started with like producers, and now it's like to artists. Some of the best matchups. You had Teddy Riley versus Babyface. You just recently had, anybody that's familiar with the culture, you had Jeezy, Young Jeezy versus Gucci Mane, which, if you know anything about rap and the history between that and Attention, that was crazy. You had Keisha Cole and Ashanti versus Ashanti. So all of these, you know what I'm saying? Like all of these, and there's legends. Like they're like DMX and Snoop did a versus battle. How can I forget that? And that was phenomenal.
I heard.
So you know what I mean? That. Just hits versus hits, right? So like this this for Easter Sunday, I think that was like the highlight of Easter Sunday for me, since other than letting the kids do an Easter egg hunt with his cousins, we came home, ate ham like everybody else, and then the highlight was me being able to I think me and my mother-in-law finally had like a connection moment. Because I love old school music. She loves old school music. Of course, you know, that's when she grew up. And I got her situated on Instagram so she could watch the versus battle. And two, for like the first hour, me and her watch on both phones. Well, I turned my volume down, but we had both of our screens going and her volume up. And we were just jamming in the kitchen to the Isley Brothers versus Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, when I tell you, probably hands down the most legendary battle like to date. And you've had Anita Baker versus, Jesus, don't get me lying. I'm gonna have to look it up. It was wasn't it? Oh Jesus, don't get me lying. But anyway, so I looked that up. But yeah, so Earth, Wind, and Fire versus the Isley Brothers. Uncle Ron Isley was out there looking like a G at 79 years old. They performed like live performances. You know what I'm saying? And guess who the host was?
Nick Cannon.
Don't disrespect the culture like that. Why do you think Nick Cannon would host a versus battle with Earth, Wind, and Fire, all the elements of the world, and the Isley Brothers?
Because Mario Lopez was not available.
All right, you know what, Joe? I'm gonna have to do how they do Jace and just kick you off. The fact like they had Steve Harvey, man, and this is
all right, he's great. Yes, I love Steve Harvey.
There we go, Patty and Gladys. My bad. Sorry for disrespecting the two queens. They had Patty and Gladys, but yeah, come on, man. So they had Steve Harvey hosting the King. So like, if you ever seen, so pretty much his whole Kings of Comedy set was based either Earth, Wind, and Fire, fucking Isley Brothers, or Teddy Pendergrass. That's all you heard through the whole soundtrack, right? So, it was just dope. It was dope to see him go through all the songs. It was interesting when he got to Ron Isley got to all the R. Kelly joints. He got kind of short and didn't let those play out, but I'm glad he let them play because Contagious was a classic. Is a classic. I can't even, you know what I mean? So my girl Anita is busy fighting for her masters, Devonna says. That's facts. Big facts. But I heard something about, so kind of side note, I heard something about masters that like, so if I sign a deal, or if an artist signs a deal, after 8 years, it becomes statute of limitations. There's a statute of limitations on it, on like your master. So if you re-record your ish and like, of course, get everything like re-cleared and everything, you can end up owning your rights and your masters all over again. But of course, you have to redirect everybody to go to those audio files. But yeah, learn that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a nice little loophole.
Exactly. I've been doing a lot of networking and researching business things. You know what I'm saying? Just figure things out. But yeah, so I just wanted to shout out the versus battle. If you guys ever get a chance, I think the deal isn't like, and that was the other dope part about the deal, right? So they build this from the ground up, Swiss Beats and Timberland. Her contract name that she owned hers after 30, I believe. Damn. You know, and that's before I go back on with verses, because that's even more important, like verbiage. And I think that like is going to be a good kind of like trend for this episode. How important like verbiage and like contracts and even just law, like knowing laws and legal terms is super important, right? Between, hearing that some, Anita Baker was Somebody owns her contract for 30 years, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Like the things that you create, your talent, your artistry is owned by somebody for 30 years. And then you look at it like the military. People are selling their souls. I sold my soul for a contract for years, right? But between, you know what I mean? So it's just like, and then even the verbiage we'll be talking about later with the Derek Chauvin trial, and how they're using verbiage to really paint a certain narrative and, you know, try and make it seem like, you know, he was doing his job, and, you know, using certain verbiage to act as if George Floyd was everything else but, you know, what deserved pretty much what he got due to his, you know, his malfunctions in life, right? So, but we'll get to that later, right? But as I was saying was, and due to good verbiage with Swiss Beats and Timberland, they were able to sell versus multiple times over, and now they're actually they have rights and sitting on the board of the group Triller, the business Triller. They've hosted like the Nate Robinson and whatever that other social media dude, YouTuber the fight was. They're going to be hosting the Nick Carter and Khloe Kardashian's ex-husband, the basketball player.
Oh, Lamar Odom.
Yeah, Lamar Odom fight and shit like that. So Triller's trying to do. Pretty much Triller was the black TikTok, and then TikTok just got famous. So yeah, put it that way. Yo, what's the craziest thing your children, one of your children, have done at like the young age? So we'll say like toddler. We'll say toddler, 5 and younger. To you, or like that somebody may or may not have deemed disrespectful.
Oh, geez. Man, I don't know. You know, my kids say messed up stuff all the time. Some stuff that, yeah, I don't know. Probably a lot of stuff, Rob. My kids are all big shit talkers, like big time.
Mine is too.
Yeah.
You know, well, when we say shit talking, like, are they like, fuck you, Dad, you fucking fat shit? No, and not call you fat. I'm sorry. I just fucking.
Like, yeah, no, they should. My 17-year-old does. That's where she usually goes. That's where she usually goes. I say she doesn't have any friends. and then she makes fun of my weight, and I tell her, well, her weight's a problem, and she still has no friends. So
Jesus.
Now where are we at?
Now where are we?
Nothing but hurt feelings, and we've gotten nowhere, have we?
Well, what would you? I'm not judging. Have any of your children spit on you? Like blatantly just spit at you, like, no. I hate you, Dad. Poo.
No, my little dude's gotten pissed a couple times. He actually the other day he kept walking in front of his sister on the swing, and you know, how many times can I tell you to like watch out so you don't get kicked in the face?
Facts.
And he got mad at me, and I was like, dude, I don't want you to get kicked in the face. Sorry. And he took his tricycle and he flipped it over.
Oh, that's not like, spitting in it. Like,
no, but it was very defiant.
Yes.
Like, if I was close enough, I could see him. I could see him. It was where he was at. It was the distance. But no. I mean, my kids never get that out of control. But yeah, it was fun to see him get a little pissed. Well,
here, let's watch this video real quick, and we'll watch the video and then discuss how we would have handled these situations as parents, right? Well, spitting daughter. There we go. I love the Eminem in the background.
Hope you know that. I'm videotaping you right now of how you're acting.
And she's like, you're on video. Like, that kid cares.
Because you can't have gum.
Is the kid trying to get out the view? Because she can't have
You're
gum.
going to scream at me and tell me you're not going to stop until you get gum. You won't see gum today at all. You won't see gum at all.
And she's laughing. Like, nah, at this point.
Oh, my God.
Yo.
I I'll be
Who taught her
Go
that?
to bed when we get home.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering. Like, does she have siblings that taught her this?
What?
No.
Or like,
I'm just
parents?
looking at that kid. You could tell
You
her
look
dad's
so
an
disgusting
asshole.
right now.
You think so?
This is
Yeah.
how you're acting.
Imagine that was a 32-year-old grown white man. You could see it.
You make a point.
You know what he looks like? Poop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no feet, no like no
Stop it.
socks.
Sit upright.
Not even in the car seat, right? I ain't judging, but at this point, my mom would have.
What? You hurt yourself because you were kicking, huh?
I do love how she's just so calm with it, though. Like, she's super calm. She's just like, all right. Like, just, all right. I'm telling you right now, if that would have happened, there we go. Throw the whole kid away. Fuck them kids. What? If you think that my mother wouldn't have pulled that car over with the quickness, almost running into somebody else's, and then snatched us out that car, tore her ass up, oh, you had another thing coming. To even think that you was even going to make the little face, my mom would have slapped my face off, left it on the highway, pulled over, beat my ass, left my ass cheeks on the highway, took off to bring me home to let my dad finish me off. And he didn't even beat us. Man, I promise you. And you bring up a good point. Let's see here. Sketchy Peasant says most of the blame is on the parents unless the kid is autistic or suffers from a mental illness. This is learned behavior. Children aren't born to act like this. Very true. Very true. And it's sad. Either they're learning it from their older siblings, which their older siblings are learning it from somebody else, right? Which probably other parents, or the parents are just letting that happen. And I don't. Fuck it. I guess I'm going to be judging her parenting, but like, you're laughing and you're just gonna go to bed. You better instill some fucking fear in that child that they never want to think about spitting at you again. And then you wonder why these kids go ahead and just do the things that they do and just feel like they can get away with this shit. What is just sending her to bed gonna do? Really? Like, what
right.
is? I'm sorry. If that was my son, somebody would have probably had to call DCF. Not the fact that just for the fact that I would have beat his ass.
I would have definitely would have turned around and been like, "Spit one more time, motherfucker! I dare you." Do that to your kid once or twice, and watch how they just.
Yeah, I promise you, if she would have slammed that damn brake so hard and would have gave him a couple little fuckers and in a nice assertive voice, that little girl probably would have started crying and wouldn't ever spit again. Let's see. Divine goes, they grown up to be pumpkin and get dragged by New York on Flavor of Love. That's funny. I remember that. The original Bachelor. Pumpkins trying to spit on New York. For anybody that don't know, for all of our millennial listeners, look up Love and Hip Hop New York, Pumpkin versus New York, and you'll see that Pumpkin got drugged trying to spit on somebody. You don't spit on somebody like that. That's nasty. And they probably think that shit's so, like, that's nasty. To spit, even before Corona, right? If you spit at, like, when I growing up, you spit at somebody, yeah, you were getting your ass beat. Like, that was just like, you don't, like, that's the biggest thing of, like, disrespect.
Not for nothing. Think about when you spit at somebody. How does that go? You go, and then you start running, and then you immediately start running. Because you know, as soon as that shit lands, that person's going to attack you. So it's a spit, and then you take off running. That's how you spit on somebody. It is literally the most disgusting. Well, perspective. It's a pretty disgusting thing to do to another human being.
Unintentionally. Now, on the intentionally side, well, I can't say unintentionally. On the aggressive side. Now, I understand that there's spitting involved in other pleasures and facets, but we're not going to get there. But in the disrespectful aspect of spitting at somebody to be disrespectful, and she, you know what I mean? You just, Sketchy Peasants like to kind of piggyback off that. You don't grow up and learn, hey, I spit on people. Like, this is a bad thing. So, I digress. Now, here we are with part 2 of kids do example 2 of kids do the darndest things, right? We have a child who somehow either skipped school, a 5-year-old either skipped school or left school, and it's caused a big uproar in the news, especially on the lighter, less melanated side of the spectrum. I see a lot of, oh my God, this child was being, threatened and mistreated and everything else like that. I'm definitely gonna play we're gonna play the video. I'm not even gonna try and talk outside of just trying to hold us from copyright, but like I want to see what you feel first, like how you feel about the reaction, and then I'll go, because I kind of take a different view or like aspect than what the masses, I guess, are saying. So we'll play this out, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Listen to me. How old are you? How old are you?
5.
5. You feel like you can make your own decisions? Huh? You feel like you can do what you want? Are you an adult? Are you 18? So why are you outside of school? Look at me. Why are you out of school? Why do you have people following you?
This is an officer talking to a 5-year-old.
I don't care if you don't want to go to school.
Police officer.
You do not have that choice. You understand? Oh, my
He's
life,
put the-
if I tried to do some stuff like that, I would have been beat 9 times before I got home.
Facts. He's put the child in the cop car and taking him back.
Don't nobody want to hear that. Ain't nobody even listening.
Sound like me in the car with Donnie.
Because you don't get to do what you want to do.
Sound exactly like me. All them tears for nothing. So this is where it gets kind of shaky, right? Yeah. The teacher or the principal.
Where is he at? School, right?
School now.
Going back to school?
Sit down. 2008 Cadillac. Sit down.
The child dropped to the floor and he caught him. He didn't like throw him, and he picked him up and placed him. That's a female officer coming in now. So pause it real quick, Joe, because I want everybody to. So what happened was a woman officer came in, and apparently from the news that I read, the woman officer had an idea who the parent was, and this is in Mississippi. I, in the black community, from the black community, understand that, like, especially down south, it's not outside of the norm for like people in the same community to like correct, children. Especially, I grew up like, if I was doing something messed up when I was growing up as a kid, I'm not gonna go into my detail. I'm trying to stick to the story first. But anyway, so what happened was she was saying, I hope your mother allows me to tear that at or beat you or something, because I'm gonna tear you up. Because if so, I'm gonna tear you up. I guess a lot of people were saying that she was going to that like, she's gonna, she's abusing the child, or she shouldn't be saying that. So once again, I'll let you go first, and then we'll hit the comments, and then I'll go into my spiel. Or do you have what? How would you have felt? I should say, that's your child, right? Your child has an episode. For some reason, he left. The officer. We'll start with the first officer. How would you have felt some type of way after seeing the camera footage? How would you have felt with the first officer?
The kid's 5.
Yeah, 5 years old.
I mean, look. At first, I thought he was trying to be cute, and then obviously it seemed like he got a little frustrated with this young man. So I didn't love it. I mean, it wasn't. The kid was doing something wrong. I don't know that the policeman did anything I would have found. Again, thinking if I was that kid's dad, would I be like, that was really disrespectful? No, I mean, again, I think you would say to the cop, like, yeah, all right. I think putting the kid in a cop car and getting a little shouties, that's a little rough. I thought it got a little unnecessary for me. How's that sound?
I can see your point. I think that I feel, especially maybe when they got to the school, the woman, it was very unnecessary what she said, because even as an officer, even if I know you, that's a conversation that, like, even if the officer, let's try and paint a picture, right? If the officer knew me, right, and said, hey, he's up here wilding, and even if she, the officer was like, can I tag him on his butt? And I said yes, just not saying that I would, but if I said yeah, go ahead, give him a tap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a personal thing that me and her, and so she needs it. Hey, I give you permission to go take him in the bathroom, do whatever. But I don't see, like, that's a very rare occasion. Outside of that, if you don't have that relationship with a parent, that's something you don't say, period. And even as, like Devonna said, not in uniform. You don't do that in uniform. You just let the parent take care of that. But then there's other ways that, like, don't get me wrong. There was times where I knew, you know what I mean, officers knew my parent, and they saw me doing something, and they would sit there and say, they would whisper in my ear, you know, I'm gonna tell your aunt, you know, you know what I mean? It was a in the ear silent thing where nobody, but then again, I was older too at the same time, right? I look at it in this aspect, with my 5-year-old, the guy, maybe because that's kind of the tone that I take, you know what I'm saying? And I'm from the era of, like, after I would have seen the tape, no, he didn't say anything wrong. Like, he didn't cuss at him or anything, you know what I mean? Like, that's a regular, to me, that's a regular kind of like OG kind of, you know what I mean, uncle talking to you in a very, you know what I mean, really like realistic, you know, tone, right? I don't think I wouldn't feel like he yelled at him. I feel like maybe he got assertive with him, and you know, and not necessarily aggressive, but yeah, assertive, and took a assertive tone with him. Now, I wouldn't have been too thrilled with the woman officer getting in his face like that and threatening to beat his butt. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not your place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, a couple of people were saying, well, even the guy officer mentioned him. You know, if he would have did that, he would have got his ass. I'm not. That doesn't. You know what I mean? That's different from saying, hey, I would have got my butt beat if I was. You know what I mean? I would have got my ass beat if I was 5 years old versus I'm gonna whoop your ass. It's two different things.
Oh yeah, no,
and not even saying that he used ass. I can't remember what he said.
Yeah, I didn't take that as a threat. I think he was telling that kid, you're fortunate nowadays that we don't just whoop asses for stuff like this. Yeah. I think it was that. I mean, again, this isn't the worst thing I've ever seen. I don't know that I would be super outraged by this. Mm-hmm. A little disrespectful, but again, you know, I think at the end of the day, this wasn't like, this isn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
Well, apparently the mother did call to take some action. I don't think anybody's been like fired or anything from the news reports, but the mother she might be like taking like a suit or something, or you're taking legal action. That's all it said.
I don't know. I mean, what legal action is there to take? I don't know that anything.
People take up legal action for the smallest.
Well, listen. As Donald Trump just proved, if you go to court, Rob, you have to have some sort of evidence. Yeah. You can't go to court and be like, they yelled at my boy. Well, what are you suing for? Are you suing for emotional distress because he got yelled at? Like, you need to have some sort of a case. So, I mean, again, is she alleging that his rights were violated, or you know what I mean? There's got to be a little bit. Devonna said it, I thought, really well. Some context missing here. There's probably a little bit more to this story that we're not getting.
Here we go. 2 Maryland officers have been accused of screaming at, grabbing, and threatening a 5-year-old elementary school student. The boy's mother, Shanta Grant, filed a lawsuit this month against Montgomery County police officers Dion Holiday and Kevin Chrisman, as well as Montgomery County and the Montgomery County Board of Education. The case comes amid, and this is all coming from CNN. The Maryland complaint alleges that in January 2020, the kindergartner walked off the East Silver Spring elementary school premises when he was not being properly supervised. Officers were dispatched to the scene of the school.
Oh, so somebody else done fucked up, by the way. That should be noted, too. And I wonder if there's maybe some relationship between the police officer and the teacher who lost the kid.
So here we go. The officers found the boy 0.2 of a mile away from school, and after speaking to the boy for 1 minute, Chrisman, who was the male, I believe, was Chrisman the male? Did I say that?
Yeah.
All right, so Chrisman, the male, started to lose his patience and forcefully grabbed the boy's arm. Chrisman continued to hold the boy's arm as the boy started to cry. The complaint states the boy was scared and did not want to go in the police car. Chrisman grabbed the boy and placed him in the squad car. See, the video didn't show that. This was extremely frightening to the boy because he thought he was going to be taken to jail. But like, how is a cop supposed to like transport him? Or was it like, or maybe the teacher was supposed to walk 0.2 of a mile, which is not far at all.
It's truancy. I mean, a police officer could pick an underage kid up and throw him in a car. I don't think there's any issue with that at all. There shouldn't be any issue with the cop putting him in the car for that reason. I mean, again, if it's for the kid's own safety, 5-year-old out in the middle of nowhere, that's not. Again, I don't know what the suit would be. I'm sure you could file a lawsuit. I don't know that the evidence is going to be really strong here because I don't think that they did anything wrong. I think inappropriate behavior is the word, and I think a hearty apology is probably all that's in order here. I saw people making is there something up with this kid?
And that's the thing.
We have behavioral issues. This again, there's got to be more to the story here. And you know how we are nowadays. We like a half a story.
And that's the thing. Like,
and we'll just sort of fill in the blanks as to what we figured probably happened.
And it's not saying that he had any behavioral issues. Like, he's a 5-year-old. And I really hate that. I really hate that we're saying that 5-year-olds might have behavioral issues. You know what I'm saying? I hated that just growing. And this is coming from somebody that grew up with somebody that has their PhD in psychology and human development. So like the fact that like kids can have at 5 years old, behavioral issues, they're 5. You know what I'm saying? Like we have 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds that don't know how to behave. Now they have behavioral issues, right? 5-year-olds, they're just learning, right? In a sense. The cop could have, and then we also saw that they sent the cop. Devon said they sent the cop. What was he supposed to do as well, right? I agree. Like you sent the cop. If you had maybe a school resource officer, how was he supposed to? He didn't cuff him. He put him in the car. Once again, in that, not saying that this is right, but down south and that culture and that. I'm sure it's different from us Northerners up here and it is. I lived in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different interaction with a black man and a black young man. You know what I mean? And that's just something that other peoples would have to just kind of understand a little bit. Sketchy Preston said the cop could have been cool, turned the situation as a fun car ride, but the cop was upset and getting agitated. The cop could have handled it better fashion. The child is 5, not 12. Very true. Very true. Yeah, it's a tough situation to kind of. I definitely wouldn't have been pressing charges. A very nice apology, maybe coming to see the kid, on your off duty, and maybe bring him a toy or some shit, or bring him something like that. That would do well. But this is a great learning opportunity for that officer to hopefully build a relationship with that young man, or maybe you know what I'm saying. Like this is the start. You know what I mean, to flip it to something good. So who knows?
I would say this, the optics of the police mistreating a little black kid in 2021. I mean, again, do you watch the fucking news? You know what I mean? Like, as that shit's unfolding, is that cop like, fuck, this is going to be on YouTube? Like, he had to know that, right? Yeah. He had to know screaming in a 5-year-old's face in 2021 probably wasn't going to end with like, hey, this guy's amazing.
I'm not going to say he was screaming, though. I'm not going to say he was screaming in a 5-year-old's face. No. He was definitely aggressive or assertive. He had assertive.
That was, again, I'm trying to place it if that was my 5-year-old, not just somebody's 5-year-old. Because what I think your 5-year-old could take as opposed to mine, the threshold's a lot higher. You know what I mean? Your 5-year-old's getting hollered at. I'm like, yeah, he's fine. You look at my kid cross, and I'm like, I'll fucking murder your ass. You know what I mean? So it's that there's a perceptual thing. You know what I mean? I just don't like the optics. Again, like Sketchy said here, that could have been a fun like cop car ride situation.
Very true. Turn a negative into a positive.
Where you hey, look, man, when I was a kid, I would have got my ass whooped for leaving school. You're lucky listen, this is serious. You're not allowed. You can't leave the. I mean, when you sent it, I don't know why. I should have known, knowing you, it wasn't going to have like a happy ending. You know what I mean? Like the cop and the kid pull off and they start shooting hoops somewhere and they go get a milkshake. And I should have known it wasn't going to be that when you sent it. It's never that.
Never. It's always the controversial.
This to me, this is not. This isn't terrible, but if I was his mom, I'd know I'd be pissed. I think if I'm a reasonable person, I get it. And I think if you're an asshole, you're like, well, the kid deserved it. Because I definitely, I don't like. I don't, again, we don't know anything about this kid or why this kid was going to get torn up or whatever,
Very true, very true. So hopefully this turns. I feel like the past couple weeks we're starting, or the past 2 weeks especially, we're starting to get a lot of insight of what great officers can be or should be. If that was 5-year-old Joe, he would have given Joe a baseball card version of the cop some candy, probably some cash, and the rest of the day off of school. If it was Rob, straight to jail. Facts.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? That's another thing. Like this 5-year-old, as a cop,
incidentally, I do have baseball card versions.
See?
I really do. That's so hilarious.
So, but now thinking about it, now that I unpacked this a little bit, right? That Sketchy's very right. Everybody's right? That cop had an opportunity to paint a good picture of an officer of the law in that young black kid's mind, especially in this time and era, right? So, like, now you already have. Imagine if that was a white cop. Just in retrospect, Mississippi white cop, that may have gone more wrong, or it could have been, whatever. But in the eyes, especially in this world today, like that black cop had an opportunity to really make this a positive. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of disappointed in him. Like that was your time, that was your shot to embrace that young man. And really, you know what I'm saying? So the more that I look at it, I'm embarrassed at both of them.
I'm glad you're changing your mind a little bit. I like that.
Not to say that I wasn't
open-minded.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? And maybe that would be the thing. Like I wouldn't be mad at the officer, but I would let him know, like, hey man, you definitely could have painted a great picture. You know what I'm saying? And maybe instead of doing a lawsuit, maybe I wish the mother would have been a little bit maybe open-minded and took some time and said, instead of looking at an opportunity and said, opportunity of maybe financial gain, there may have been a bigger opportunity of growth and, creating a better relationship, one between that officer and that child, and then those officers and that child, and then the officers in the neighborhood and everything else like that. Like it's always the smallest things that probably grow the biggest, right? You take the smallest seed and nurture it the right way. It has a possibility to give you the best plant that produces, whatever fruits, if we want to get, all philosophy or philosophical on it. But, I'm a little bit now embarrassed of those two.
Yeah. I mean, again, I just feel like for anybody who's been paying attention at all, especially if you're a police officer, doesn't this just sort of seem like the time where, like, I don't know, should just be like not an asshole? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I think. But I guess I'm wrong. I guess other people don't quite see it that way.
No, not everybody does. Not everybody does. I see.
Don't.
No, they don't. Not to say all of them don't. Because that's interesting. I had a very interesting conversation with a police sergeant this past weekend, and kind of that was in the same spectrum. Devon says, please give an example of what exactly? Of how the cop could have made it better, or how, like, what could have happened if it was a white officer. I'm not sure. Just remember, in the winter, far beneath the winter snow, lies the seed that, with the sin's love and the spring it becomes a rose. There we go. There's my philosophy. I don't know. I've worked with some. Devon goes, I don't know. I've worked with some children with pretty unique needs, so I'm a little hesitant to believe it could have been handled more effectively. I mean, I think maybe within due time, of course, first and foremost, you have to build a relationship with somebody, and depending on how quick he can build a connection with that child, maybe it all depends. What she have done? Oh, what she have done differently? I don't know. Maybe like, and once again, without the full video, we don't know exactly how he approached it. But you know what I mean? Maybe coming off a little bit more friendly. But then once again, like you said, I know 5-year-olds that are just straightly like, "Fuck you, kid," or I mean, "Fuck you, dude. I don't give a fuck about you." You know what I mean? Like, so it all depends on that kid's demeanor. I feel like maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Let me. I don't want to give like a short answer as far as like a quick thought on answer. I feel like maybe if he tried to relate with him a little bit or build a some kind of connection with him first, not made it necessarily about how in trouble he is right away. Maybe did that when you got to the school, or let the school and it looked like the principal just let everything happen, right? So like once the officer got the kid, like it seems like his objective was to find the child and bring him to the school, right? From that aspect, he's not there to, and this is really me turning to 180. He's not there to correct that child. He was there just to locate the child and bring him back safely, right? And we kind of discussed this last week, and how when you become in care of somebody, right, or that guardian, that temporary, you're just there to get that child there safely, not give him a lecture, get him back to school, let the school give him, all those talks and everything else like that. Be the friendly side. Hey man, I just want to make sure you're safe. I just want to this, that, and the third. And who knows? Like, we're not talking about a chill having a rough day in the cafe. He left the building, but that you never know. He might have had a bad day and decided to leave. That might be in his thing. Like, I'm just leaving. Who knows? He might have had a bad day. Who knows what was going on at home? Who knows what was going on? Maybe that's what the officer could have did, and talk to him and just related with him. You know what I'm saying? In my eyes, fuck it. He's already gone. What's another 5-10 minutes of me sitting here by my car talking to this kid to get him to calm down and maybe coming down to the problem? And I say that because working in a group home before, right? Prior experience, I had to work with young adults that had behaviors for no reason, and instead of just reacting after they come at you aggressively, you're just like, hey man, let's talk. You know what I mean? And it took a little bit of unpacking, right, and questioning and questioning them, right, and maybe taking a little bit of verbal beating, but eventually, like, they get tired. Like, even with my son, right, he'll have his little verbal spouts, and he's 5, and he has his little temper tantrums. And instead now of me just going at him, I'm just like, hey, what's up, dude? Like, where are we at with this? You know what I'm saying? And just, I don't know. Once again, it's hard to put yourself in that situation. I'm not an officer. I try and think of it as, dealing with a 5-year-old, and how maybe I would like somebody to interact. Once again, it wouldn't be something I would be pressing charges about, but maybe something that I believe would be a great learning experience or training experience as well. You know what I mean? You take these kind of situations and sit there and say, hey, have a group, and hey, how could we have done this better? I do wish that the full video was available. Maybe if I do some deeper digging, I can find it. Devonna goes, Devonna says, I don't know. I think there's something to be said about that black man speaking to that black child with a hand of tough love. Not trying to be defensive. I'm not trying to be defensive. So if I sound defensive, I apologize. And this is maybe because I'm a firm believer of tough love. Like, there's a place for tough love in certain situations. Not saying that it's always tough love, but I'm a firm believer of tough love sometimes. But yeah. You were about to say something, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think tough love is good. I think tough love should probably come from someone who loves you. You know what I mean? Somebody who it probably shouldn't come from just some, you know what I mean? Like I think there's something to that. When I was a kid, your neighbor could yell at you and slap you in the head.
Depending on the neighbor.
Depending on the neighbor. If the neighbor was friends with mom and pop, then yeah. And if mom and pop didn't like the person that hit you, then they had a problem with it. So it really all depended on who was doing the hitting. Yeah. Which I always found interesting. I never thought that seemed right, Rob. Does that seem right?
So there's people that like
depends on who's hitting me. That's how we decide whether it's all right or not.
Honestly, yeah. So like if my son's at any of his aunts or uncles and he's acting up and they pop him, I'm not questioning them because I trust their judgment, right? If he's at a close family, like there's a handful of people that I'm not getting mad at, that if he's over there and they popped him, I would understand why. Like they're not just hitting him just to hit him. And like he must have really did some like really outlandish ish, right? For any of my family members to hit him, right?
Right.
But outside of, and this is gonna sound crazy, maybe 10 people, or if I say family members, you know what I'm saying? Like if you include like husband and wife, maybe 12. But I'm not saying that 12 people are actually going to do it. Probably none of them will ever do it. Just for the simple fact that like I don't even like we don't come from that. Like, and even my child, like he hasn't really done anything in a long time to deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that he won't, but like I say 12 people and I feel like that sounds like a lot, but realistically, I have 4 other siblings, 2 spouses, so that's what, 6. On his mother's side of the family, that's uncle, that's 8. My grandmother, his grandmother. You know what I'm saying? So that adds up quick. You know what I'm saying? So that's 12 people, and then you know what I mean. So yeah. But not to stay on this subject, I will kind of piggyback off of what Devonna said. If y'all see my kid running around from school or running away from school, cuss him out. To kind of like caveat off of that, if you see my child acting a damn fool and you know me and you know that you know me and you need to cuss my child out, go ahead. Correct their ass up. Not saying go popping them, but just shoot me a text. Just like if anybody ever wants to come hang out or wants me to watch their children, I tell everybody all the time, if I'm watching your child, I'm treating your child as if they were mine. Minus popping somebody else's kid. Unless like you do some crazy shit and I'll have to tag your butt and that's whatever. But that's what I tell everybody under the understanding. Like so yes, anybody knows my child gets it. As if he was in basic training 24/7, old school drill sergeant. Sometimes I cuss at not necessarily at my child, but some words come out like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Go sit your ass down. Bring your ass here. Shut the hell up. Y'all are being way too loud because I done told y'all 5 times to be quiet. So once again, if you don't like those things being said, if you don't, you know what I'm saying, if you don't want your child being treated, when they're being, acting a damn fool, it's cool. You can come hang out, just stay with your child. I'm not watching them. Yeah. Point blank, period. There was an old meme, and I promise I'm gonna get off of this in a second. There was an old meme that was like, we're watching kids for New Year's, but if your child has like box braids, if your child drinks like sippy cups and they're like 5 years old, so some shit, like it was funny. It was like we're charging them double if they're coming in, if they're young girls with barrettes or beads at the end of their braids. That's like an extra $25 an hour. That shit was hilarious. It's a culture thing for you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Yo, what would it take for you to first and foremost, what would it take for you to get rid of your wife? And when I say that, like rid, like buy, murder, like off. I don't think there would ever be a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, probably not. You know what I'm saying? We joke about it because she's such a huge true crime fan. Mm-hmm. That I do joke with her a lot about murdering her, like in a fun way. I got you. So, Pete, this wife, this Las Vegas woman, did not joke. She actually did it. But what's crazy is, so on March 22nd, around 11 p.m., Jarrell Ng, last name was NG. He's of Asian descent. So please, don't kill me for being, inappropriate if I mispronounce that. Age 37, was on a call in his home when he was shot. How do you do like a suspenseful sound? His wife, Emily Akuda,
37, reportedly tried to make his death look like an accident. But what happened was that she did it while he was on his live, and it caught her. So when they brought her in for questioning, she tried to say that, things was accidents, certain things didn't, happen a certain way. But what really in all actually happened was he was on a video call with some family members, I believe, and she went in there yelling and screaming. He turned around and offed him, right? But it says Akuta allegedly called 911, and she said she had gone on a walk with her dog and came back to discover his face down on the floor, and that he was finding it hard to breathe. She said it looked like he had been shot, per their arrest report. She told authorities her husband may have been cleaning his gun and accidentally shot himself, saying she found the gun near his body, then locked it in a closet. And neighbors said they heard the couple arguing just before the shooting. Detective said her retelling of evidence didn't add up. Retelling of events didn't add up with the evidence. Below the body of Ng, there was no large pooling of blood that was expected had Ng been found face down, as Akuta stated she found him. So, point blank period. They later did some more investigating as they grabbed the laptop or the computer and played it back, and everything showed that she offed him. So, not well thought out at all. It had to be in Las Vegas. Like, that's crazy. Like, only in Vegas is this kind of, not only in Vegas, but maybe in Vegas is where I expect something like this to happen. Yeah. But the fact that, like, one, you don't, like, you're offing somebody with a gun, and you're not checking the environment. You're not checking your surroundings. You must have heard him on some kind of call. Like, what the hell did you think was, that would be like my girl right now coming to off me and I'm doing this podcast. Yeah. Not the brightest thing in the world.
No, it wouldn't be. It definitely wouldn't be. Again, because I read this article, I was fascinated by it. Even if she had been able to pull it off, I think even still, just the angle of the gun and all that was off. So yes. There was, everything she did, was kind of wrong.
And I think
including murdering her husband, but yeah.
So, and I think one of the telltale signs, if I'm serving my memory correctly, was that the dog, she stated that they were on a walk with the dog, right? But in the video of him offing himself, guess what do you hear? The dog barking in the background. So you're just like, yeah, sorry, buddy. You're well, not buddy. Sorry, lady. I didn't really think that one through. Only a Fonus Duelist could only made it this easy. Yeah. All the money we would have saved as a state. Oh, man. So I would assume, well, I don't want to speculate, as to why she would have done that, but my thing would be, my guess, maybe cheating. Maybe she found him cheating. And in that regards, it led me to come to a clip that I found this week about respectfully cheating. So it left me to wonder, like,
this is very much a cultural thing. Yes.
I can't say this is a cultural thing because I don't agree with this, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of people don't agree with this. And hopefully, if Devonna's still watching, she might be able to give us some insight, right? But this is somebody that says they don't mind their significant other cheating as long as they do it respectfully. Let's play the clip and we'll go into it.
I believe in cheating respectfully. I never tell my man, like, oh, you can go cheat on me. So cheating respectfully to me is cheating where I don't find out, is having control over your other women, is using condoms and not having babies. Like, cheat respectfully, because believe it or not, your man is cheating. But I'm not leaving my man over a one-night stand with a period. I will only leave my man for three things. You bring me home an STD, you have a baby on me, or if you gay. Everything else is work outable for me. Yeah. Like, period.
I used to say that there was levels to cheat.
Like those three things only.
That don't mean nothing. Yeah. But don't bite a bitch nut and don't make her feel special.
Right. You can't even do that. Don't make her feel
Don't bite a bitch neck and don't make her feel special.
Damn, that's crazy.
All right, let's cut this nonsense, Joe.
A guy can love you. Let's
cut this nonsense.
Guys are built different.
You don't have to be sorry. I've been in the.
I'm fascinated by it. I am. So as long as you don't bring home an STD or get her pregnant, if they don't know about it,
and it's protected sex, it's respectfully cheating.
That's insane.
I was so confused, and apparently she was on Bad Girls Club. Her name's Megan. I didn't know nothing about this chick. I don't even know what show that is. I just happened to see the clip, and like, this is crazy. Hey, Osen Jen, stop trying to attack our stream over here, man. We're already famous. We got somebody on Twitch trying to jack our stream. But anyways, what I was saying was like, I'm so lost. Like, I don't know who this chick is. And so Devonna goes, women love lowering their standards to still be single. It's weird. Like, I don't understand that. So first and foremost, you're on a like national platform because this is a national show. Why are you going to want lower your standards and let all these dudes know that, bang, I'm good. Let me go with her because I know I can cheat. I know I can. So you're already setting yourself up for failure. You're hustling backwards. No man is going to respect you. I'm saying man only because she said it, but I would assume also in a woman's case, no woman will respect a man if they're like that as well. They're not. How are you going to have respect for your relationship unless you're in that kind of, you know what I mean, you're polygamous, right? But it even let me like, even her other things that were like, oh, the 3 things that will make me stop, you know what I mean, that will cancel a relationship is if they have a baby, STD, or if they're gay. Like, I don't know. Before I get myself in a bind, right? First and foremost, I don't know. Maybe for men, it might be more of a thing. I don't know. I just, the in the closet man, I don't know. Yeah, this is crazy. I don't want to get canceled. Not to say get canceled, but I don't want to sound like ignorant without like me going there, right? How do you not know that your man's gay? And I know this is going to sound very ignorant of me, but fuck it, right? I guess it's out there. And it's not wrong. Like, yes, you should respect his sexual preferences, but that doesn't necessarily make him gay. He's just bisexual. So that's where I'm trying to get at. If somebody's gay, they're strictly for a certain type, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. And this is where I was trying to like juggle, like if I, you know what I mean? But I'm ignorant, so please correct me in the comments, right? If somebody's gay, they're not attracted to you at all. They're probably either pansexual, so that means your man is pansexual or bisexual, right? But apparently, like, I think, well, not apparently, but I was told that bisexual is not a real thing. But
who told you that?
So, what's that?
Who told you that?
I don't remember. One of the conversations that I have with people all the time. But like, I don't know, or like, not to say that bisexual isn't a thing, but it could be considered like disrespectful. All this stuff is confusing to me, and I want to learn and I want to be understanding, so I'm not disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot. It's a lot to take on. And not like so. But besides that, right? One, I think like all 3 of her reasons were ignorant as hell. The fact that, you know, like, she was like, oh, I'm not gonna get mad over a one night stand. I'm sorry, even if it's with a different person, that's no longer a one night stand. That's a habitual thing. Like, just like if somebody tells you one lie and then they continue lying and lying and lying to you, they're just a habitual liar now.
Yes. And
then once again, you downgrade yourself by even just sitting there saying, yeah, a man can do whatever. Like, what's the point of even being in a relationship with somebody? So I was just wondering, like, how does one outside of that literally like cheat on their significant other respectfully? Like, are there any other ways that we can think of? Like, are there like,
not doing it?
There we go. How about not doing it, right?
Again, dude, where do these people find the friggin' time? I don't have time to do anything.
It's a lot of effort.
Nothing.
It's a lot of effort, and I don't have the time for it either. Like, first and foremost, like, I have to not only deal with one set of emotions, now I have to deal with a whole nother set of emotions. Like, everything doubles. Everything doubles. Now, like, I barely have time for the one I'm with now.
Right.
Now I have to make time for her, you, and I have to make time.
You imagine a whole other person with a list of shit for you to do, with criticisms you didn't realize that needed to be said.
and not get them mixed up and oh my gosh,
dude, that's the other thing. I would never. I would not be able to keep that shit straight. I would blow that quick.
So quick, so quick. Like
I can't even get my kids' names right. You know what I'm saying? That'd be real hard.
I'm so lost. I would never. Well, not say would never, because I used to be a dirty dick bag back in my early 20s. But yeah, y'all like there's women out there that don't enjoy being the side chick, and men too.
Devonna, where are they? Where are these?
You don't want to know. That's the thing. That's a good thing that you don't know. That's a good thing that you don't know.
Enjoy being the side chick. That seems easy, Rob. That seems like an easy get.
But I mean, if they enjoy it, that's what they do. I mean, imagine if you're a side chick, you can be a side chick to like multiple people, right? How are we being misogynistic? This goes across the board.
I disagree
this goes for men and women. Because guess what? Men and women both cheat, right? Men and women both cheat. Men are just dumb about cheating. Women, I believe they're smarter with their cheating and they're smarter with finding it out. They're out there. Check the sugar baby site. And that's what.
Oh, but yeah,
I wouldn't mind if I was a single man. You're right. I would if I was a single man. I don't want to be a sugar baby, but like I think there's a difference. So is a sugar baby because they're married? Because they don't have to be married to be a sugar baby or a sugar daddy, right?
That's you're paying their way. I'm saying if that's what you're doing, I don't want that.
We're not even saying that like we're just talking about the fact that he's in a relationship. Like by all means, if you're single, right? Like do whatever. Like and even then you can sit there and say, well, the person's not married, so they can do whatever they like. But like the side chick, there's a difference. A side chick is a side chick for a reason. It's not like the girlfriend. The side chick is the person on the side because somebody's in an already dedicated relationship and you're the side chick. It's different from saying, hey, I'm just dating certain people, being single. The single person can date whoever they want. And I'm just faulting the person, whoever's doing the cheating, right? Just like if somebody's cheating, you never have a person, right? So like if my significant other cheated on me, I'm not going to have a problem with the guy that she did it with. I'm going to have a problem with her. That's not his problem. That's her problem. She's the one that broke the trust. She's the one that did all that.
I'd probably punch his face in too, though.
No, it's not even worth it. At that point, it's like not even worth it. Like, if anything, like I would want to thank him for exposing, like, thank you. Like, I wish you would have just told me sooner. So this way, like, I wouldn't have had to like deal with so many, you know what I mean? By the time, like, bro, I think at this point in life, I nothing to get mad about. Like at this point, if that's what it's taking it out, relationship wise, hey, the smart people are messing with people that also have something to lose. Very true. Okay, I can see that. I
get that. I get that a lot.
I get that. But even then, like I said, like if you're gonna do it, but that's even hard to sit there and say, oh, if you're going to do it with somebody that actually understands your situation. Because at any given moment, I've seen it where one of the guys that I've known, he had a whole wife and he had a side chick, and the side chick knew everything, and like everything was good until she got mad. Like she understood everything, and took the blame for a lot of things, and but then one time she was just done, and it was the straw that broke the camel's back, and she let it all out. So it was like, hey. But there we go. But respectfully cheating is dumb. Just date, in the words of Devonna. I agree. Since we're on the subject of toxicity, did you hear about all the toxic waste in Tampa Bay?
I mean, I'd say it every week. It's worth repeating that Florida is just a cesspool.
Facts.
Yeah. That just doesn't surprise me.
No, not at all. Not at all. Like, and the worst part about it is now, Governor Ron. I hate Governor Ron DeSantis.
He's the worst.
Like the worst. Now he's like, oh, it's a state of emergency. But remind you, they've been talking about this fucking water reservoir emergency dump that belonged to whatever country, or not country, but whatever water plant, right? It's been stagnant water for like 17 years. If not longer, right? Because the plant shut down in 2003, and now it's about to break, and they're doing what's called a slow drain. but they're like, oh, it's super healthy. It's not going to be an issue. They're like, oh, there's Frank. I was waiting for him to come out of his man cave. They're like, yeah, we're just letting a bunch of like bad chemicals into water that's going to go into the bay. They really don't have a plan. They're just pretty much letting the slow be before it breaks. Let's see if Frank goes, gee, thanks. I get here. You start talking shit about Florida. Hell yeah, Frank.
Could smell you coming a mile away.
I'm glad glad you're out the car wash, man. They let you out a little bit late. But we're here, buddy. We're here. Nah, so all I'm saying is like Florida, I see Florida either like breaking off, like the panhandle breaking off and like becoming its own island, or like some big monsoon washing away in like the next 5 years. And like Georgia's the new coastline. Maybe like Tampa Bay is like the new Miami Beach. Right. Maybe that far up, but it's sick out there. Y'all are nasty. Y'all are nasty in Florida. They're like my guy Charlemagne the guy, he says the craziest motherfuckers come from Bronx, New York, and all of Florida, which is super true. All of Florida.
Yeah. I don't like the way they do things in Florida at all. Yeah. It's bad, and it shocks me that the people who live in Florida just accept it and keep voting for it. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Hopefully they get them out of here. Yeah. I don't know. Between Florida and Texas, you saw Texas had they opened the Texas Rangers game at 100%. 48,000 people in attendance. Oh yeah. Florida and Texas is gonna be endless. But yeah, let's pay some bills. Let's Joe, let's go ahead and watch your wiffle ball story. We'll start with a wiffle ball story and go from there.
I love wiffle ball. No other way to explain it. Just something about the game, the feel of the grass, smacking that ball all over the field, making plays, diving head first, whatever it takes to get the job done. That's what wiffle ball means to me. Striking out grown men, watching their knees buckle on a called third strike. Sit out, bud. And then, of course, the home runs, the base hits, the big home runs at the big moments. That's a whiff of greatness. Join us all season long for the Joe Aguirre Story, a CMG podcast.
There's always a holiday, birthday, or any celebration to look forward to. So why not prepare now and book your favorite DJ and or photographer? Book DJ Rifa, the most versatile female DJ around for your parties or small gatherings. Need a professional photo shoot done too? Then book Reef's Views to capture your dream shots as well. Don't need either, but still curious to check out the work? You can now find DJ Rifa on shopblackct.com, the best directory for all Black-owned businesses in Connecticut. On there, you'll find DJ Rifa's Instagram at Queen of All Trades with 3 L's, where you can now look and book. Need more information but want to reach out directly? Email DJ Rifa at masonsharifa@gmail.com. Memories last a lifetime, so let's start making them.
Bingo. Joe, when does wiffle ball season start up again?
It is starting this Sunday.
Oh, maybe we post some. Are fans allowed, or are you guys closed stadium?
Yeah, no, we're full capacity. We want everybody.
But we have to put the schedule up.
COVID's over.
You know what I mean? Show the I'll pitch you off shortly love out there in the field.
I would love that. I definitely raise my game level depending on how many people are spectating.
Okay, there we go. Put on a real show. Maybe get DJ Reefer to come out there and DJ maybe one day. Who knows? Oh man, yo. So I remember vowing that I was not going to try and bring up the orange man, the fat orange man, for a while, right? For some odd reason, he found his way, not once, not twice, but 3 mother effing times in my timeline. Somehow I thought I got rid of him, Joe. I thought that he was done. I was like, cool, we don't have to hear about this dude. But first and foremost, come to find out, Trump owes one of his ex-bodyguards $130 for a reimbursement for McDonald's after they were on a travel trip somewhere in some country. And of course, you know, the fat man had to eat, whether it was a country or somewhere. They were on a trip, and the fat man didn't have money accessible or cash at hand to buy, you know, his meal and all the staff's meals and stuff like that. So what does the ex-bodyguard that's not getting paid a lot do? He covers it with the intent, and Trump says, hey, we're going to reimburse you. Guess what? Never got reimbursed. So now he's letting the story out, letting it fly, and he has the receipts. So, and when I say receipts, the physical receipts, all the proof, all the messages. He did say that he was reluctant to bring it up to Trump, but he does have all the evidence, and I guess whatever things that they had agreed to prior, and then just never received it. I wonder if you can get interest on that $130.
You know, when I read that earlier, I thought it said 130,000. I mean, what a fucking loser. You owe the guy $130 for like Big Macs. Just fucking give him the money. What are you, an asshole?
Facts. Like that should have been a first thing.
Dude, $130? I mean, come on, dude. That is I can't even with this guy. How can anybody look at Donald Trump and not just see a hot steaming pile of shit? I don't understand that.
I don't get it either. Like, and at first, when I first saw the story, I said, "Yo, don't tell me that the bodyguard paid for the meal." At first, I thought it was gonna go for like when he got the national championship, but I said that had to have been more than. Well, it's McDonald's and this White House. They might have given him a discount.
Yeah.
I was I hope that wasn't it, right? But it was apparently but he was fired in 2012. The officer. What happens is McKay says Trump didn't have any UK currency, so he asked me if I could front him the cash. McKay says he did, and ordered 20 cheeseburgers and fries and around 10 to 15 Cokes. McKay said Trump ate his usual fave, 2 cheeseburgers with fries and a Diet Coke. McKay says 130 at the time was kind of a big deal to him, especially because he only made around $2,700 a month while working for Trump. He says he asked for the money but kept blowing him off, and Trump never brought it up either. Trump's McDonald's, yeah. So yeah.
You know, Donald Trump's one of those people where like he's like, hey, anybody got a 20 on him? And you're like, oh fuck, dude. I'm never getting his back. I'm never getting it back.
Never get it back. The worst. Like that's horrible. That couldn't even been like written off. Like you should have been like, I'm sorry, if any kind of those expenses, you should be able to take that shit out of his fucking salary, even though he was claiming he wasn't getting it.
Anybody
who
doesn't pay money back like that, it's a scumbag.
Facts.
Straight up, you're a scumbag.
And it wasn't even a 20. Like usually if somebody asks me for a 20, I'm not expecting it back. Like whatever, right? And even my dad always taught me, like, never lend somebody money that you're expecting back or that you need, right? So usually like if I lend somebody money, I'm not expecting it back, especially if it's a certain amount. But if it is, I'm not lending anybody just, you know, if somebody's like, hey, let me get $100, I'm not just loaning anybody $100. You know what I'm saying? And then also with that comes like a certain little like level of respect for certain people. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, my rule is pretty much I'm not lending outside of certain people more than like $20. And if you say, hey Rob, can I get a 20 and I give it to you, it would be nice if you paid me back, but I'm not expecting it back because that's, you know what I mean? But $130 for some McDonald's of everybody else, and I'm making $2,700 a month before taxes, and you're the fucking president of the United States?
Yeah, bro. If he would have looked at me and been like, hey, I don't have any, I would have been like, fucking tap too, bro.
I would have been like, yeah, I'm sorry, I got money for me. I make $2,800 a month.
Write a fucking IOU or something, dude. Yeah. Otherwise,
better use your charm.
Yeah, fuck that.
Fuck it. So that, and then also, since we're talking about like scamming people out of money, Trumpito's campaign tricking his supporters into reoccurring payments, right? So it started. So remember all these nice Republicans that were, kept funding his campaign to, stop the vote and all this other shit, and the election fraud, and he was give me money. This is the only way we can stop this election fraud, right? But what happened was, it started with an unusual and aggressive move. There was a addition of a small bright yellow box on his campaign donation portal in March of 2020, right? And it said, make this monthly reoccurring donation, right? And the text next to the box. The box had automatically but the thing with it, right? The box was automatically checked off. So automatically had checked to make this reoccurring payment. A lot of donors, I guess, and you had to uncheck it for it to come off. A lot of donors claimed they didn't see it, or it was a very small area. So in order to avoid the reoccurring donation, donors had to manually opt out. Months later, the donation portal added a second pre-check box. This time, the box automatically directed an additional contribution from the donor in honor of President Trump, right? So not only are these people, say you said, okay, cool, I'm giving him $100, and you went ahead and processed your payment, right? Didn't uncheck that box. You were giving him $100 every month. Now, what happened was some people, well, of course, some of these people that donated to him, they realized that hey, why I thought I was giving you a certain amount. Why am I getting this much? So they've had to pay out, looking at the number, millions of dollars back. Let's see here.
I think I saw 5.2 million or something like that.
5.2. So 163-year-old Trump supporter who was living on a fixed income, less than $1,000 a month, donated $500 to the campaign, but ended up having $3,000 taken out of his account. Another one gave a generous donation of $990, but the orangey white supremacist ended up shelling out $8,000 from their account. And then a spokesperson said the fact that we had to dispute is claiming that the fact that they had a dispute rate of less than 1% of total donations, despite raising more grassroots money than any campaign in history, is remarkable. But that is actually told to be a lie because of the money. In total, the Trump campaign returned a staggering 10.7% of money secured through WinRed, the Republican Party's contribution party. In contrast, the Biden campaign returned just 2.2% of the money raised. Trump supporters who unwittingly donated their money to the campaign filed fraud complaints upon noticing unauthorized withdrawals, reports the Times.
I mean, that's embarrassing for him. I mean, Jesus Christ. I will tell you this. I did notice that because I got all of those emails.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember even pointing it out to my wife that they were basically pre-checked boxes that were totally meant to confuse.
Yeah.
For sure. The intent was to try to get, I saw it. So, again, anybody who's yeah, Donald Trump's great, Donald Trump cares. I mean, dude, you at this point, the jig's up, right? You got played. Donald Trump played a lot of people. And anybody who's still drinking the Kool-Aid should be fucking ashamed of themselves.
Was that 73 million?
Yeah, bro, you missed the boat big time.
Big time. And the fact that it was what killed me was when they did it to honor his birthday. Set up pretty much a double payment, an additional contribution just for his birthday. And people were like, yeah, happy birthday. And didn't even really notice it. That's so sick. And now, the fact that he's even, I wonder if that's going to end up funding his social media project. That might be benefit to them then, if that's what it kind of funds to.
It's going to end up funding his legal defense.
Oh, geez. Well, he might have another legal case on him. The fact that Facebook removed daughter-in-law Laura Trump's interview of him. And they were like, yeah, nah, you ain't posted shit that has to do with the orange fat man. We don't want to hear from him. We don't want to see him. They're like, Facebook, Zuckerberg is really super banning Trump. So who knows where Trump's going to, what the Trump team is going to do there. Because, of course, they're claiming, their rights are being revoked from them and all this other shit.
I mean, how absurd is it that the president of the United States is banned from Twitter?
All social media, pretty much.
Well, yeah, but again, and it's like, I mean, this is the world that we live in. And there's people that are like, he's great, he's the greatest president. He got banned from like fucking Twitter, dude.
The place where you can go off with just about anything. Like, I remember Twitter when it first started. Twitter was crazy. I left Twitter because Twitter was just getting crazy for a while. And like Twitter's still kind of that space where like you can let some things fly. And the fact that Trump got banned from Twitter, that's crazy.
Well, I laugh for the people that were like, yeah, you think it's all right that the Ayatollah can have an account from Iran and the president of the United States? Well, no, the Ayatollah doesn't threaten people.
No, he threatens people in person. He doesn't do it on social media.
I mean, right? Because he's not a fucking total moron. Jesus Christ. I mean, God.
It's sex out. I'm just like, man, I really tried not to talk about this dude, but the fact that he's coming into shit like he's coming into news for like even dumber shit, right? My neighbor, Sketchy says, my neighbor is a Trump supporter who lives on a fixed income of Social Security. He made a $500 one-time donation and had over 3,000 withdrew from his checking account. He blames the bank, not Trump. That's crazy.
Right. It's the bank's fault.
That somebody had to process those payments. Hello. Like, people are, oh man. And, so I also heard that he's trying to turn, like, instead of, the Trump name, as his brand, he's trying to brand pretty much like the number 45. Like, he's trying to turn 45 into his brand. And
is that right?
Yes. And not concerning. Well, yes. What's concerning to me about that is like, that's going to really stir a whole cult. Like, he already has a cult following, but like, that's going to, like, now you're going to have like conservatives / 45ers. Like, in my mind, this is where this is going. Like, you have the 45 party, you have 45ism, you have all these crazy things that's going to come about this shit. And I'm scared to see where this lands, to be honest.
When does this guy just drop dead is my question.
Hopefully soon. His health isn't too great. I mean, it's a race between him and Biden, and at least Biden's knees can recuperate. We saw when Trump's knees buckled, just coming down and that's another thing. I was like, yo, Biden fell up the stairs of some steep stairs. Fucking Trump couldn't even walk down a small little ramp, metal ramp after he did that military ceremony. He was all old man walking. I don't know. If I had to put my money, I would say Trump goes before Biden. I don't know.
Yeah.
Coke 45.
Listen, bro, when you're spending $130 a pop at McDonald's, I mean, yeah.
And then Diet Coke.
I like a couple of cheeseburgers with a shake as much as the next guy, but Christ, $130. Even with my kids, that's like 4 trips to McDonald's. Are you serious?
Well, apparently he was buying staff food and everybody else. But
bullshit.
Trump
you think Donald Trump was buying shit for other people? That's the biggest bullshit. That's the biggest bullshit part of that story, was that Trump was flipping the bill for everybody else. And then, of course, didn't have, I don't have my checkbook. The fuck out of here, you.
But realistically, he never had, as a president, you're never going to have it. Or maybe he wasn't president then. No, because it was 2012.
Right.
So you're a businessman and you don't, you're trash. You're super trash. Oh, man. Talking about trash shit. Do we want to talk about racist motherfuckers first, or do we want to go ahead and dig into this madness over at the Capitol?
You know how much I love the racism. I mean, I'm always a racism fan.
Yeah, we're gonna go to yep, that's racist, right? And we're gonna keep it light today. When racism is never light, but this is more like dummy racist, like racist that just like get on my fucking nerves, and then of course trying to act like they're not racist. So an Asian American woman says Chick-fil-A listed her name as China on her order, right? So she goes, the lady, let's see, Tina. Her name was Tina. That's right. Her name was Tina. Tina goes. She's 20. She goes to a Houston Chick-fil-A. And when she got her receipt, because she ordered a medium fried chicken soup bowl, Cobb salad. Oh, it sounds like a good granola parfait. Man, that was a rich ass meal. But anyways, so she goes to put in an order, and anybody that's been to Chick-fil-A, you know, they ask you for your name and all sweet, and you know, be the sweetest person ever. So on the guest portion of her receipt, the name says China. Well, after she reported it and Chick-fil-A talked to the actual worker that took her order, the worker says that they misheard her name Tina, and mistook it for China. In the words of, you know, our boy Trumpito. So I said, you know what? And this is and Chick-fil-A is like, this is what our worker said. This is what we're sticking with. There's no issue here. They said we want our customers to have a great experience, but it sounds like that didn't happen this time. We can't undo what happened, but we love another chance to get it right. I spoke with my team members from the shift that day. They informed me that they misheard Tina as China and that it had nothing to do with your ethnicity.
Well, it did, because you would have never thought that was somebody's fucking name if they weren't Asian.
And then guess what they offered her to make her feel better?
Oh, shit. Oh, wait, let me guess, like a bowl of rice.
A free meal. A free meal is going to make all this better.
Yeah.
So you call me China as an Asian American during all of this nonsense and misplace Tina with China, and you give me a fucking free meal? This is why I fucking hate Chick-fil-A. And to be honest, yes, their food's fucking amazing, but fuck this. This is not the first or second time or third time that we've had to deal with racism from fucking Chick-fil-A.
Is it though?
And guess what? The owner says he openly admits that he's a racist. So, like, the fuck?
Listen, let's clear the air about something. I went to Chick-fil-A again last week, my third trip, literally in a couple of years now.
Yep.
The milkshake, the chocolate milkshake was very good. I'm not going to lie to you. It was in terms of fast food milkshakes, it was really good.
Okay. Never had one there, but yeah.
It's really good. But you know what says really good milkshakes? Burger King. I never go there because their food is garbage and it makes me throw up within minutes of eating it.
And I used to love Burger King.
I used to like hanging out at Burger King. Every time I try to eat their food, I just would vomit immediately. It's the weirdest thing, but they have great milkshakes. Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich is okay.
Okay. Where do you like a chicken sandwich from?
Well, listen,
just so I can gauge.
Honestly, the best chicken sandwich around, fast food wise, mind you, is Boston Market. Their chicken carver sandwich is actual real chicken meat.
That's like the biggest caucasity thing you've ever said.
No, well,
Boston
that might
Market?
be true. I'm saying based on actual taste.
Based on actual taste.
Been to Boston Market.
Boston Market is bland, Joe.
No, I'll take you to Boston Market. I guarantee I'll change your mind.
Granted, I haven't been to Boston Market since I was like 8, maybe.
There you go.
Boston Market was so trash when we went.
It's pretty good now. I don't go often, again, but because I love chicken sandwiches.
Same.
That's why I've been to Chick-fil-A 3 times in the last couple of years. I'm like, what's all the fucking hype? Because I just don't see it. I went again.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me, it tastes not unlike what Friendly's is serving as a chicken sandwich. And I'll be honest, they're okay at Friendly's.
Friendly's is okay.
It's okay. I've got Chick-fil-A on par with them, maybe a smidge ahead of Wendy's. I don't know if it's...
Whoa. Okay, so I love Wendy's, but it's certain Wendy's, right? The overall concept, I love Wendy's. I do believe that Chick-fil-A has a better... See, there we go, Frank. Thank you. Boston Market is super white. To me, Chick-fil-A has a better sandwich, but I will say, because the Popeyes here, any Popeyes up north is trash compared to the Popeyes down south. I don't know what it is with Popeyes down south, but Popeyes down south is way better than the Popeyes I've had up north. So, like, I can't really compete with the Popeyes chicken sandwich up here. I'm sure it probably tastes better down south, but yeah, Chick-fil-A's it. Like, Wendy's is cool, but you got to catch the right Wendy's. Like, the one by the mall over where I'm at is trash, and it doesn't have a drive-thru. I hate that Wendy's. That Wendy's doesn't have a fucking drive-through, and it's annoying as hell.
So weird.
So it's super inconvenient, and they're just horrible. Like it gets horrible service, just like the fucking Burger King that's right by the mall. The worst Burger King ever. Like it's literally like trying to drive on Mars with all the craters or the moon, and then just they never like. There's times where I'll pull up there, and they'll be like, because sometimes I do get fries in the Sprite because it's right next to my job. So like, and they'll be like, sorry, we're not taking any orders right now, and I'm like, it's fucking 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We're shut down for the day. Like, and this is like a every other day thing. Like, I think that they're just finally just giving up on that one. And like corporate is just like, yeah, we're just gonna easily bleed this one out. But yeah. The best Popeyes I've had was in Louisiana. The only downfall was they didn't have mac and cheese. That does suck when you go to Popeyes and they're out of mac and cheese. But yeah, I'm getting hungry now talking about all that. But yeah, so Chick-fil-A, fix your racism. Honestly, I do care because like you guys shouldn't be racist, but like I would love to see like these are one of the things where I feel like cancel culture is necessary. Like, yeah, might not necessarily cancel their ass, but stop going to them. And honestly, every time I'm in fucking Chick-fil-A, where we're at, I see the light, the Caucasians, but I see a lot of Asian Americans. A lot. Always at Chick-fil-A. So I'm just saying, you might want to watch who the fuck, y'all are being racist to. Your prime demographic can definitely cripple you if they choose. Next thing, and that's racist. We're going to flip the script a little bit, right? White professor sues college claiming he's being paid less than black colleagues. When I saw this article, I fucking started cracking up just for the simple fact that, like, there has been such a misjustice and misservice to African Americans when it comes to the pay structure, especially with African American women being the lowest and the corporate ladder to get paid the least, right? And by scale. I had the numbers up like percentage wise earlier. Definitely didn't want to. I clicked out the window, so I'm not going to find it again. But to the story, chemistry professor William T. Lavelle, who has taught at Camden County College for 25 years, claimed he faces embarrassment and humiliation because of the pay discrepancy between him and black colleagues. Lavelle said he earns a salary of $91,923 and holds 3 professional degrees in his area of certification. 2 engineering professors who work at the school, he said, make more money despite having fewer professional degrees. One of the professors, Lawrence Chapman, made $137,000 in 2020, while Melvin Roberts, another professor, currently earns $142,600. $600. The lawsuit stated. This, I can't read worth shit. Like, I hated fucking. No, and this is all coming from the Washington Examiner. Like, yeah. But yeah, I'm super not well spoken. I can't read worth shit.
I think you're missing the joke there.
What?
That's something racist white people say to black people.
Speak
like all ghetto and shit. You're like, wow, you're so well spoken.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. He was being sarcastically racist. Yeah. I read this story, Rob. This is a really interesting story. I guess my question is number one, he did a FOIA request to find out what everybody else was making. I don't know how he's going to be able to prove that he's suffering major embarrassment, and nobody would know the discrepancy in pay if he wasn't telling people.
Exactly.
So I don't know that he's got, I think this is probably going to get thrown out, summary judgment sort of a situation. I definitely don't see that surviving. You usually can't tell the size of a person's penis by a headline. Clearly here, though, you can.
You can.
It's small. And
overcompensating.
Yeah, dude, I mean, get a fucking grip, man. Really?
And then honestly, like,
here's the racist element for me in this, Rob. This is that idea that a black person that's as qualified for you isn't in your mind.
Exactly.
Right?
All based off of
I'm
degrees.
way fucking smarter than he is. And it's like, well, I mean, these guys have certifications and degrees too.
Exactly. And there's something
why do you think your shit's special?
And I promise you, when they went for tenure or whenever they went for their review, guess what? They all had to negotiate their fucking price. So what does that say about him? You're a shitty fucking negotiator. These guys obviously knew their fucking worth, and the college was obviously willing to pay them what they were worth. So fuck all those degrees if you're not obviously adding value. Like, you could be sitting on a job for 25 years and have 3 fucking degrees, but you might be a shitty fucking professor. Like, when does actual like doing your job fucking matter? Like, just because you have all, like, I hate the fact that people tend to believe or compare, equate degrees with intellect, right? Oh, I have fucking 3 degrees. I'm smarter than you. No. If anything, you're dumber because I bet you're in way more debt than I am. And you're probably not even getting paid what you need to be getting paid to pay those fucking bills off. Dan Orlovsky's comments on Justin Fields, was that racist? I wouldn't know. What's the comments?
So this former has-been white quarterback, Dan Orlovsky, was talking about Justin Fields, the young quarterback out of Ohio State, who's going to be probably the number 2 overall draft pick. Orlovsky said that he heard from multiple teams that Fields is a last guy in, first guy out type of quarterback without the maniacal worth ethic of others. Read that as white players who are quarterbacks. ESPN's Kirk Herbstreit, who went to Ohio State, called Orlovsky's take absolutely ridiculous and described passing along that information as reckless and absurd. And his own coach, Ryan Day, the coach of Ohio State, was like, where are you even hearing this?
So he's pretty much trying to lower his.
This is that idea that, right, it's the natural talent and that he doesn't work as hard as the white quarterbacks. He doesn't spend as much time watching, breaking down the defenses in the film room. Last guy in, first guy out, Rob. I mean, what a shitty thing to say about somebody that also says that this black kid isn't a leader. Last guy in, first guy out.
What does that matter? I tell you this right now. If
Rob, I'll put it like this though. I say this shit all the time. They would never say that about a white quarterback. You would never hear them question his work ethic. You would never hear them talk about those sorts of things. This is something that it's only when it comes to black and Hispanics do you find work ethic is a concern. And then when you talk to the actual teams and coaches, they're like, guy's a hard worker. There's a perception because the black athlete looks like it's just all natural, right? He doesn't work as hard as those fucking white guys. No. Bullshit. And again, for a professional like Dan Orlovsky's an asshole and always has been, but for a guy working at ESPN to run his mouth like that, unsubstantiated, that could cost Justin Fields millions of dollars in stock where he's going to be drafted. I would think if that is not a true statement, that Justin Fields could very well sue Dan Orlovsky for the millions of dollars he might get for being the 3rd or 4th pick instead of the 2nd overall.
For bringing down his credibility for no reason. Correct.
That he heard. Meanwhile, all of the scouts and his own coach are like, that's not true at all. So why would you spread that rumor?
In all transparency. But in all transparency, I didn't follow college football this whole fucking season just because it was just a wash to me, right? But who if Justin Fields is number 2, right? Who's number 1? Or is it the
white kid from Clemson?
Okay, Clemson. So who's behind? I should say who's behind Fields then? So what would be Orlovsky's motive? Potentially, has he been shown favoritism to another quarterback? Maybe the dude from Alabama or whatever.
I was just gonna say probably. Mac Jones is moving up the list. They've got a lot of people got Mac Jones possibly going 3. There's another white kid, Trey Lance, out of South Dakota State, who they think's going top 5. Zach Wilson from BYU. So you got quite a few guys all trying to make that run between 2 and 5. And Dan Orlovsky's comments obviously don't help Justin Fields in that race.
So I wonder what, because you know me, I like to dig. I'm a follow the money type of guy, right? So like to me at this point, I would be like, let me see who in the past Orlovsky's fucking hyped up, you know what I mean, or giving huge takes on that's, you know, cutting that, and then you know what I mean, that might have some, you know, probable cause or, you know, some shit in between that. If you read between the lines, I'm a read between the lines kind of guy.
I saw a meme yesterday that spoke of their character and between Justin Fields and Mac Jones, and they said that there's definitely character issues with one of these guys.
DUI, right? One of them had 3 DUIs.
So I don't believe so. I think that was slightly exaggerated. He's definitely been arrested at least once for a DUI.
Okay,
that we do know. I couldn't find evidence of 3, but definitely 1.
Okay.
While he was a freshman, him and Tua, neither one of them was the starter at the time. That's how long ago that was. Now, right? I mean, again, Baker Mayfield. Think about all the trouble he had when he was at Oklahoma. If you're a black dude and you're doing that shit, you're done.
Remember when they kill whatchamajigga for stealing the crab legs? Jameis Winston?
Oh, yeah. Jameis has never gotten back on track. Although he was also accused of rape. One that I'm pretty sure that he had committed. And it was after he beat that where he was celebrating by stealing crab legs. Which, again, dude, nothing says I'm innocent.
Horrible example.
Nothing says I'm innocent of that rape accusation like I just stole some crab legs.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, horrible example. I'm sorry. That was horrible. But yeah. So yeah. Yep, that's racist. 3 examples of racism still here today in America. Oh, America the beautiful. How much we love you so, and all of your racism.
It's getting more fucking petty too, the racism, huh?
Oh my God.
Super fucking petty.
And I'm sorry, like I'm starting to feel like I'm starting to slowly feel like white people are trying to make it seem like they're the oppressed ones now, like they're becoming the oppressed ones. I'm sorry, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not. Oh, and then other news of yep, that's racist. I thought about something the other day, and maybe it was because I took my medicine and I was feeling in a good mood, but I thought about something and it had me cracking up dying. I was like, yo, you want to know how, like in my mind, I said, let's figure out how to get like white people or like racist white people to stop using the N-word, right? So it's simple. Start calling them the N-word. Imagine if I, like all these ignorant people, like all these ignorant white people that I kind of run into, and they're arguing with me. I'm like, you know what? Shut up. You're a hard ER. What are they gonna say?
Yeah, well, that would be honest to God, bro. That might be like a fun experiment to do right there.
Like it'd be dead ass serious. Like, what are you? I'm not. And then here we go. I'm not one. You are. There we go. I can't be one because I'm not black. No, you can't.
Just rolling up on some white dude in the street, some little scrawny bastard, and just grab like you. Oh my God, dude! Right? What would that shit be like?
Throw them for a fucking.
You are no. Take
like,
that back.
no, or even better. Somebody calls me one. Like, no, motherfucker, you are. And like literally say, no, you are the ER, and watch what happens. I just want to see what happens. Like, I wonder if that like kind of would like just start like to dead it. Like, imagine like white people will start getting sick of being called the hard ER. I would just imagine like that would literally hurt them. Like that. Like, here we go. We're gonna give you the same hurt and just. I really feel like that would really poke them. Poke certain racist people. Like,
I would think so.
I don't know. I just had the best laugh about it because in my head, and well, not in my head, out loud in the kitchen by myself, I was kind of like playing it out, and I was like, I got a little chuckle. Just playing it out in my head. So enough on the racism. Well, no, I can't even say enough on the racism because we're going to be talking about the microaggressions of police officers and everything else like that. And especially within the Derek Chauvin trial. But before we get to Derek Chauvin, that murder, I did have a sit down with a police officer, a police sergeant of I don't want to give out too much information because I want to kind of like respect his his privacy and stuff like that, and respect our conversation because he did. This is somebody who like not to say that we have a bad relationship, but we have a casual, cordial relationship, right? And this was kind of like one of the more interesting conversations and lengthier conversations that we actually had. So I was surprised that he actually opened up. So kind of to keep his, his idea. But he is a sergeant in a city environment, city police station. And me and him were just talking, just kind of like how the pressures and being a police officer, comes with it, especially during the times, and just how even with the trial going on, and just how it is being an officer now, right? And he was telling me that like it's difficult, which I expected, but the way he was saying it was difficult was especially in Connecticut. We'll use Connecticut as an example. Connecticut just recently passed a bill or a law, whatever that is, right? That says that pretty much has slammed the book on like bad officers, right? So now, like, if they do something and they're convicted of mistreatment or abuse of their power and they get fired, pretty much they're done. Like, they can't work security. They're fired from the they can't even go down to like low level security, right? Unarmed security, shit like that. But he was saying that now officers and sergeants are telling are telling their officers to like not necessarily do like patrol stops or anymore. Anything that's going to put them in a situation that could lead to unnecessary involvement, right? So like a drug stop that maybe somebody had some weed on them, or the smell of weed, stopping with those kind of drug stops, because who knows what those kind of situations that could present, right? But and then in my head I said, well, damn, you guys are kind of like not doing your jobs to save yourselves from just doing the right thing. And that's kind of how like I asked them, right? Like you're stopping patrol. You're stopping like traffic stops. You're stopping maybe suspicious areas, which is possibly good. But then at the same time, like, you're still not doing your job. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Like it feels like they're, So, but the way he explained it was like, it's kind of to save their asses and his ass. And then I said, well, why do you feel the need to like save your ass? And then he explained that pretty much like with everything that's going on now, especially in the past couple of years with policing, like it's hard to get recruits, right? So you get recruits, and he said especially like these recruits, they're not people coming in from the city, from the inner city. There are people coming from suburban areas, never really had to interact with inner city life, and they're young. So where before, or a couple of years ago, you might have had 1,500 applicants to become recruits. Now you have maybe 150, and out of those 150, these guys are like not the best. So you have to kind of like pick out of like mid-tier candidates, and then maybe Johnny, who failed the police exam 5 times, he might have passed on the 6th time, and now you got to take him, right? So like these are the people that they're starting to get, and accept in, and people that aren't necessarily have a full understanding of what policing really entails. And you're coming into an inner city where like these guys never had to interact with cultures outside races and stuff like that. So like, for example, you take a kid and you put him on the north end of one of our cities, or or one of the tougher areas of one of our cities right in the state, they're not gonna know what to do. They're intimidated, they're scared, they have certain biases with them. And he explained, he said it's not like basic training where you could have 90 days with somebody to break them down and build them back up, right? And even in basic training, you can't break that mentality, because people go through basic training and they're still racist when they leave. They might have learned how to, deal with a black person, but they still have those certain mentalities and certain microaggressions and biases in their head, right? So and then he gave me an example of how recently one of his guys was on a call, and he had to kind of like check his officer, because the officer went to there was a civil dispute, right, where there was a mother and a son. The son was an adult, but the mother felt intimidated because inside the house, she had like put herself in her room, and like the son was banging on the bedroom door, and it broke open, right? So when the officer got there, he was ready to, he had arrested the guy because, you know, the guy was speaking loud and, you know, it seemed like he had broke it didn't seem like he did break the door and stuff like that. So to the kid, he was like, I have to control him. He's aggressive. He has this, you know, he has this chance to do this again. But when he got there, the guy was calm. Like everybody was calm. It was somebody that had actually already called the neighbor, like the neighbors had called or something like that, right? So, but he had initially arrested the dude. So the sergeant had to tell him like, hey, there's no cause, right? And then he was saying how like he couldn't undermine his officer, but at the same time he still had to kind of coach him through it. And he was saying what I didn't like was the fact that he was saying, hey, you have to find the reason. You got to find that probable cause if you're going to arrest him. If you're going to arrest him, you have to find that probable cause. And you know how I am with verbiage, right? So that kind of led me to like, and it led me to ask him. I was like, so you guys, like with a lot of arrests, that's where a lot of things get messed up because they're finding, you mean like you could put me in the cuffs and then between certain questions or whatever, you can use certain pieces to put together, even though it's not the right puzzle, you can piece it together to make it look like it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like putting a car together and you have 4 parts that you don't know where these parts came from and you just threw it away. And you know what I mean? You don't have the complete setup, but it's working. And he was like, yeah, I can kind of see that. And I said, well, that's kind of what you did with that guy, even though they let the guy go. But I was like, you can't like that's jacked up in the mentality of officers, because I'm sure if it was in his mentality of you have to find the PC. Imagine how many other officers are made an arrest and not sure of why they're arresting. And then they have to find, you know what I mean? Like you have to find the reason to arrest somebody. So that was like another issue that kind of came up. But it was very interesting. And I see, let's go to the comments. Jared said that's an angle I've never heard before. So what demographic is attempting to be a police officer that wasn't in the past, or vice versa? Very true. Very true. I think even in that demographic, he was saying that's it, even in the inner city, like there, to be specific, he said there's not a lot of black people that want to become cops. He goes, a lot of the times what happens is like you'll get the black guys that do want to become cops. They might have had something, you know, they might have smoked weed when they were younger, or they might have did something, and then that unfortunately hinders them a little bit more than, you know, if a white kid came in and maybe he may have gotten drunk with a DUI or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially he said, you know, it seems that like the records of young black men tend to really stay, or you're able to have a trace, versus like the records of a young white kid if they've done some things. For example, he had said that like two of the guys when he first like got out of the academy with, like one of the guys got into a DUI like a week before the academy and they still let him in. And then but he ended up getting like kicked out like a couple of years afterwards or whatever. So it's just like there's that racism just within the system itself, right? You know, white guys can kind of get away with certain things, but you know, black guys come in and they're honest when they're on their polygraph, and they're like, yeah, I smoked weed before, yeah, I had financial troubles, right? Because they may have ran up a credit card at the age of 18, and now they're, you know, 26, you know, working on their stuff, you know what I mean, growing up and trying to, you know, mature, but that gets held against them. Whereas, you know, a white kid that, you know, didn't have to worry about credit, or you know, well, they'll be fine, you know what I mean, or might have credit issues, it's kind of looked past upon, right? So just sitting here hearing these kind of things, and also how they're saying, you know, to kind of go back on the laws, how you're saying with the new laws being passed, that they're very vague and they leave a lot to interpretation. So like if, for example, it says, you know, a lot of things are based on like opinion or just through the site. So like if somebody feels they're intimidated, right, that can have an effect. You know, if a person says, well, I felt intimidated by the officer, you know, or the verbiage that they use, that can really affect somebody. So I said it's interesting to see it on two different sides of the spectrum. Yeah. I hope that kind of made sense. And then we were also talking, what were we talking about? Oh, I asked him about marijuana, especially since everything is like, especially in New England. And come to find out, he was like, yeah, we don't, states pretty much all in New England don't give a damn. He said marijuana, that's a ticket now, especially with Connecticut being decriminalized, and then especially with Mass pretty much being in with Connecticut being in the middle of Mass, New York, and New Jersey now. Like, he was like, cops don't give a damn about weed. And then what actually struck me even more was he was saying that crack cocaine and heroin are falling into the same category, where like if they find somebody with crack cocaine or heroin, it's just like a ticket, because there's so many other things and a lot of that leads to the extra things, right? So there we go back to like how they police. You start getting into all these situations with crack cocaine drug stops and weed drug stops. That's where you start, what I mean? They feel that that's where you get the more aggressive drug stops and the more aggressive situations. So they're just like, fuck it, we'd rather give you a ticket and just let the courts deal with it. Which I found very, very interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So with that being said, before we get into Derek Chauvin, do we want to take a little break, pay a couple bills first, and then we'll get into Derek Chauvin and maybe Georgia's bullshit laws?
Let's do it.
Right.
The Closing Time Podcast is back, sponsored by Rocky Hill Accountants. I'm Joe Aguirre. I'll have a brand new co-host, Sanam Salati, who's my broker, my mentor, and my good friend, and one of the most knowledgeable people in Connecticut in the entire real estate industry. We're going to be talking about the latest goings on. We'll keep you up to date on the market, and we're going to bring on some really great guests all throughout this season. People in all different fields in the industry, like accountants, home inspectors, mortgage reps, and so much more, just to give you a better understanding of the Connecticut real estate market. We're so excited for a brand new season of the Closing Time Podcast, part of the CMG Podcast Network. It's sponsored by Rocky Hill Accountants. Go see Heidi and Glenn Parchman to file your taxes for bookkeeping, business advice, real estate investments, or whatever your accounting needs are, including cryptocurrency. Just visit RockyHillAccountants.com. We'll see you all season long on the Closing Time Podcast.
Hi, my name is Allison Gamber. I'm the Executive Director for the Cove Center for Grieving Children. Our office is located in Meriden, and we provide services throughout Connecticut. We are so excited to be having a virtual event coming up, the Hope and Healing Virtual Auction and Celebration. The auction will be held April 22nd to the 24th, and the celebration will be held on the evening of April 24th to talk all about the Cove services and what we've accomplished over the last 26 years. If you'd like to join us for the celebration, registration is free, and you can find all that information on www.covect.org. And the link for the virtual auction will be put up there on the evening of April 21st to start live auctioning on April 22nd. So come and join us to celebrate the Cove and raise some funds so we can continue to offer our programs free of charge.
That's what's up. Make sure you guys visit covect.org. Let them know that CMG, and I'll piss you off shortly, sent you. And make sure you guys go donate. And then also, tax season, man. Tax season got extended to May. You guys got a little bit more time, so make sure you guys go check out Rocky Hill Accountants. I know I will be giving them a call this week. I finally found all of my tax information that I feel like I need, hopefully enough to go ahead and drop this bombshell on them and see if they can get me right for 2021. So yeah, make sure you guys go check them out.
By the way, the Cove CT thing, hosted by Joe Fury from News Channel 8, really cool dude.
Yes.
And a real big charity guy. And Allison is somebody I've dealt with for a long time. CMG is the media sponsor for that event, so we're very excited about that.
Can't wait. I feel like I've watched Joe Fury since I was like a kid.
Yeah.
He's been on TV for a while.
Been a real long time. Yeah. And honestly,
him and Scott Haney. Him and Scott.
I know them both. Really well. If I had to pick who's better, and I'll do it, it's Joe.
There you go. Okay.
Not that Scott's the bad guy, because he's a decent dude too, but he's a little full of himself.
I get that a little bit. I get that. But, hey, it's all good. And talking about Joe's, can we give it up for Joe and his younger days with the hair? It's weird seeing you without the hair. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, Such a different person. Such a different person. That's crazy.
This has been fun. It's funny. I went to the broadcasting school. The last time we didn't do a show on a Monday, I was at the school. It was the radio final, and the director of the whole entire program saw me in the hallway, and she said, "Hey, love the hair," and I actually had it in a ponytail at the school. And I said, "Oh, really?" I'm like, do you like it?" And she said, "Yeah, it looks very artsy." And so in that moment, I realized I have to cut it quickly.
Oh, geez, you gonna buzz it, or what you gonna go?
I don't know. I don't want to be called artsy ever.
I get it. I can understand why not. But I mean, you are artsy though. You are artsy. You have a media, like it fits you now. You know what I'm saying?
I guess it's so funny, dude. Like I have a whole bunch of meetings this week where I have to literally go out and meet people in person. And in COVID, I hate that more than anything. And even worse than that, I'm like, what do I do with my hair? Do I put it in a ponytail and look like a hippie dipshit, or do I let it just flow down and it's like falling on my face like I'm fucking Eddie Vedder and it's a Pearl Jam concert? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you got to go on Pinterest and find some hairstyles, long hairstyles for men.
Or do I just cut this shit once and for all? Because again, I only did this because I thought, oh, this is going to be 5-6 months of quarantine.
Yeah,
let me see how much I could grow. I had no idea.
Now y'all
the worst was last summer. I told you a buddy of mine was going through some shit, and we went to Block Island for the day. And I get on the boat, and he looks at me, goes, "Dude," he goes, "we go back to my house. I have clippers." And I was like, "Motherfucker, I have clippers too. I cut my own hair. I mean, if it's the length it's at, it's because I want it that way, right?"
Yeah.
Who says shit like that? That's my buddy. It's funny. The other night when you were here, after the show, we had a really cool post-show meeting, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And I was telling you about this very good friend of mine and all the trouble that this guy's gotten me into over the years. And just a weird. Only he would say shit like that, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you need a haircut, I'll cut your hair later. You're like, shut the fuck up.
Man, everybody's always trying to cut your hair when you got the hair. Outside of that, that nobody wants to deal with it. It reminds me of Drumline when everybody wanted to cut Nick Cannon's hair because he got the question wrong. Everybody was so hyped to cut his hair. Why is it always the long hair people? Everybody just wants to cut that shit. That's
I know. It's so weird, dude. It really is such a weird thing. And like, I don't know. I was at CVS the other day. This is when I really noticed some shit. There was an old man in front of me. Guy had to be around 70. White hair, kind of longish, ponytail. And for a minute I was like, oh, fucking right on. And then I turned over and the guy at the register had like a man bun on top, and then two other dudes walked in, and I was like, "The fuck, dude?
See, okay,
what's
so
happening here? I don't want to be associated with all these folks." You know what I mean?
That's funny. I wanted to grow my hair, and I promise you, we're gonna get off this conversation. I wanted to grow my hair, but my girl won't let me because I wanted to do like the little twist and maybe lock it up. So I'm just stuck with a short haircut and maybe like the mini fro from time to time, but outside of that, I'm stuck.
You just got told no, huh? That ain't happening.
Said no, I kind of So I don't know. Maybe I'll just. But even then, like I can't get past the ugly stage. So like, there's a time where there's an ugly stage, and it's just like, oh, I got to do something to it, but I can't, and I just chop it. But anyways, outside of that, we're talking about officers. Man, this trial of Derek Chauvin is, first and foremost, I think I said this last week, or maybe we said it during our little after show meeting, but like, I don't know who paid for his fucking defense attorney or like his defense team. They're fucking trash. They are fucking trash. When I say they're fucking trash, the main defense attorney, he's always flustered. He's super emotional. And like he's super repetitive to the point where even the judge is even have to tell him to re-question things because it's not pertaining to anything. He's all over the place. Anything that he tries to tie connections to, or try and, especially as he's trying to paint a certain image and picture of George Floyd as if, you know what I mean, like everything else was bad about him and the fact that he wasn't murdered. Like they're trying to sit there, you know what I mean, trying to sit there and say everything else, like he was aggressive, he was a drug addict, he this, that, and the third. But the fact that Derek Chauvin fucking murdered fucking George Floyd, right? But we're used to that, especially in the black community, because they will literally throw all of our pictures out there and depict us as the bad person, even though nothing he did caused him to die, right? Or caused for Derek Chauvin to murder him, right?
He was high on drugs. He had as if did the cop know that? It's that same bullshit when they talk about Jacob Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he had raped somebody. Did the cop that showed up that shot him 7 times in the back didn't know that any of that shit happened? And even if he did, is the cop there to administer justice?
No, not at all. And that's the thing.
No, right?
So,
no, that's not their job.
And we see that all the time, right? Especially in these cases, right? Tamir Rice. They brought up every picture of Tamir Rice trying to look like, looking like a thug in their eyes, right? But they do that. They bring up the past. Like, why are you bringing up anything in my past that what had to do with a certain situation? They're not bringing up Derek Chauvin's past. Matter of fact, the judge even said that out of the 7 to 17 previous cases that he has had where he's had to use his gun before, or cases against him, only one of them can be used. So you're hindering all of his past, but you're just letting everything go about fucking George Floyd's past just go like it's free, and that's literally the only thing that the defense attorney has to hang on. I would pull up his name, but I don't even want to pull up the fucking defense attorney's name because he's a fucking clown. Even the defense attorney looks like he was a kid that was bullied his whole life and fucking just uses him being an attorney as a way to get back at people. I love today, especially because last week was pretty much all the firsthand witness accounts, and it was definitely hard to watch because the way the defense attorney treated regular normal citizens that never probably have had to testify again. And that's another thing. I hate how nasty lawyers can be, but in the court of law, it seems that you can't give them the same spiciness back. So a lawyer can be spicy with me and act like I'm supposed to know all these rules of the fucking court. But the minute I give him some fucking sarcasm back, now I have to be, in the proper moment and, be professional and shit like that. But what I did like, especially today, the police chief of Minneapolis police chief, Madaria Arredondo.
Saw this.
He fucking came to fucking play today. And when I say that, well, first and foremost, he pretty much put the nail in the coffin for Chauvin. Let's not forget that he was the first person to pretty much call Chauvin a fucking murderer. And we'll quote him. This was murder. It wasn't a lack of training, Arredondo said, adding that was why he took swift action and fired the 4 officers involved in the incident a day after Floyd's death. The officer knew what was happening. One intentionally caused it, and the other officers failed to prevent it, Arredondo said in June. And then also to piggyback today, he pretty much doubled down on everything. And I think today was the day that the defense was definitely dreading. They definitely didn't look prepared. They were just flustered all over the place. They didn't have any real questions for him other than just bullshit trying to make it seem as if the training failed Derek Chauvin instead of Derek Chauvin failing to train and provide the actual proper training and proper health aid that he was supposed to provide. And it was awesome just to also see that Chief Arredondo was able to really handle that defense attorney with such swift and just grace. He was like, yeah, can you please explain that a little bit more? You're not making any sense. And he would have him ask the question 3 times. So he, give him a really good solid answer. And he was like, yeah, no, from what you're saying, that's not what it is. But this is, he was guiding everything the right way. He wasn't letting him he handled himself in a very professional manner. He wasn't letting the defense attorney get under him. So I stand by it. I think Derek Chauvin, he's going to jail. I hopefully after the testimony today from the chief really can push towards that second degree murder. I once again, I don't see first degree. I'm still calling manslaughter, but hopefully after this testimony, we have a couple more testimonies from officers and other professionals that kind of push that second degree charge to stick.
Yeah, I mean, again, dude, I would be, and I would understand if shit hell hits the fan if that doesn't work out right, because I don't see any way where any reasonable human being that's looking at this isn't going to find him guilty. And I think, again, I don't know. Are people cool with manslaughter? I don't know that I am.
No, I'm not okay with it. And I'm definitely not okay with manslaughter. I feel that's my pray for the, I expect the worst, pray for the best. I'm expecting the worst of manslaughter, because for me, the absolute worst would be for them to let this go, but I don't think that they're letting him off. If they let him off, jeez, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I don't see them letting him off. But I don't see him getting the max. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy because I don't know. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting because, look, if it happens where he gets, let's say they hit him with first degree murder and he gets like life in prison, the people on the right are going to be like, they just catered to the left and blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be that bullshit again. And if he gets off, it's going to be same old. That's just how this country
They're like, he's not guilty. He was tried by his jurors. No, fuck that. That motherfucker is guilty. Even the chief said, he goes verbatim, his quote, there was an initial responsibility and trying to just get him under control in the first few seconds. But once there was no longer any resistance, and clearly when Mr. Floyd was no longer responsive and even motionless, to continue to apply that level of force to a person proned out, handcuffed behind their back, that in no way, shape, or form is anything that is by policy. It is not part of our training, and it's certainly not part of our ethics or values. Like, that's blatant. Yeah. So, like, for anybody on the right to sit there and even say that, oh, he was tried by a jury and he was found, not guilty. That just because people are found not guilty, OJ was found not guilty.
Right.
This explains it. This is literally the boss saying he did this. Like, this is against policy. This is not part of our training. This was never, you know what I mean? Like, this is not right. You know what I mean? He explained departmental policy and on when force and de-escalation tactics are necessary. He said Chauvin failed to follow policies on de-escalation, use force, and the duty to render aid to people who are in need. So it's just like, miss me with the bullshit. I don't want to tell the jury how to do your job, but yeah. Rob and Joe, do you have faith in being judged by a jury of your peers? I can throw a rock and hit a stupid person. I don't trust it at all. And I hate the phrase of I'd rather be tried by 12 than be carried by 6 or whatever. I hate that shit because I don't know none of y'all motherfuckers and none of y'all know me. There's a lot more than just listening to bullshit questions or how certain people word certain questions and trying to piece something together. Like you're going you can't tell me that people come into especially a trial like this with unbiased opinions. Like you can't tell me that somebody's not coming in there already kind of having an idea of whether or not he's guilty or not guilty. That's just against human nature. I could be wrong, but it's just like, how do you really trust that? And even me, like thinking, like if I were to be picked as a juror, I already have an idea.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be hard as fuck to change my mind that he did not murder him. Now, what under specific verbiage classifies what class murder? We have to look. But he murdered him. That wasn't fucking manslaughter. That was intentional. He knew what the fuck he was doing. He knew everything he was doing was inappropriate. So it's just like, what are we really doing now? What are we fucking doing? No, letting it play out for what?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it.
So,
I mean, this does. I put it to like this: do I have faith in a jury of my peers? I would if I was on trial. Given the situation and the history of what I've seen the last 20 years, no faith at all. I watched a jury literally say Casey Anthony didn't do anything wrong. And I also watched the jury of 20 guys that beat the shit out of Rodney King also be told they didn't do anything wrong. So I get real confused, it seems like, in some of these shits.
It's weird. I tell you right, well, as a black man in America, I don't trust no jury. And you could sit there and this is just my interpretation, and I'll piss you off shortly. But like, even if it was a jury of 12 black people, I don't know. I make this clear all the time. I'm not of the belief of just because somebody's my color makes them my brother. Not at all. You're still trusting somebody else's mental state, somebody else's opinion, somebody else's vision of you, like how they view you. Have you two ever served as jury before? No, I actually had my first summons for December of last year, and then they said, "Nah, you're good." I didn't even have to go. They just said it was canceled.
I actually had a friend that worked at the courthouse who literally whenever because I feel like I got jury duty. I had jury duty every few years. I seemed like I was on the list.
Yep.
And I know I had to report on 3 separate occasions, and each of those 3 separate occasions, my friend, about 5-10 minutes after I got there, was like, "Hey, Joe,"
you're good.
And would literally pull me out of the room and be like, "Hey, you're all set. You can go home."
Mm.
So,
see, I would do it. Like I
don't want that responsibility. I'm not interested in that.
I would do it. I don't know if I would do it to like this case, but like a non not so public trial. You know what I'm saying? Not if I can go into the trial and really not know anything, then maybe that's another thing. But like coming into a trial like this, that's tough. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would damn, that scratch must felt good.
Oh yeah, I will tell you. You know, I think.
Fucking hungry.
I guess I would be nervous. I could be wrong. You know what I mean? Because that would be my luck. I get that case where it's like, you know, they got the guy on tape, but he's got a twin brother that's been missing for 10 years.
Gotcha.
You know, they can't verify that guy was dead, and this cat's got a pretty good alibi. You know, but maybe they did the switcheroo beforehand. I don't know. I wouldn't want all that.
Okay, so Bet, you're on the jury for this trial. What is your? Is he guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, 100% guilty. I mean, this should be an easy one. I think. Again, I mean, like I said, you had people standing by that could have helped save the guy's life, and you said no. So again, even if you didn't cause his death, you prevented him from getting help. Well, there was a trained professional standing right there.
Yeah,
I don't see
protect and serve.
I don't see any way around them not being liable. I don't see there being any other way to find this case. I really don't. They were right there.
Yeah, they
could have helped him, and you didn't provide the necessary aid.
So and I see a comment that says, "What if somebody had?" And I'm assuming that's if somebody did call for help from apparently, and I guess in the video that somebody did say the ambulance or something is on their way. But still, that doesn't take away from the fact that he had his knee on somebody's neck when he should have when he was already stopped resisting. He shouldn't have applied that certain pressure. He shouldn't have. That was an inappropriate position to be in. And you know what I mean? So like there's just because you called for the ambulance doesn't mean that you continuously harm you don't continue to harm the person. Jared says, I'm trying to raise children that would help someone in a situation like that. If someone had saved his life, what would the trial be about? What would this trial be about? Exactly. So, and that's the other thing, right? So imagine if, let's say the MMA guy decided to tackle Derek Chauvin. It probably wouldn't be about that Derek Chauvin was killing this guy or even already killed him. It would be about the MMA guy assaulting Chauvin while, you know what I mean, doing an arrest. It would have been flipped.
Right. That's also assuming that the MMA guy doesn't get murdered.
Yeah. Doesn't get shot
by attacking the cop. Because, you know, that's never a good idea.
And then the sad part about it is, so say they realize that George Floyd has died. You know what I mean? He's laying there motionless, and then the MMA fighter goes to push him off. I bet, you know what I mean? Like now it makes it a harder trial for Derek Chauvin to get tried for murder. And now they've got that man with a case, and that's the bigger case than Derek Chauvin murdering George Floyd.
Yeah.
So who polices the police?
Well, isn't that really the main point of what we're doing here? Is who polices the police? And I'm afraid the answer time and time again is they do.
They do.
And it never works out for us.
Well, hopefully now the tables kind of turn. I will say this. I need all police chiefs, police officers, lieutenants, all that shit to be watching this. Watch that chief. That's how you're supposed to have accountability. That's how you're supposed to know your shit. That's how you're supposed to, you know what I mean? That's how you're supposed to police. That's true policing from that chief right there. And if a lot of people had that same mentality, and even when I was talking to the sergeant this weekend, right, he was saying that, yeah, that's murder. That's murder, and he would have had no problem turning fucking Chauvin in. So, like, imagine if all officers that felt that way, instead of hiding behind the blue shield, you know, that blue shield said, yeah, that shit's fucked up. You actually might change some fucking mindsets or open up some minds to sit there and say, you know what? That's fucked up. You know, and that was, you know, that was a speech. Accountability. Who holds you guys fucking accountable? Especially if like you guys are fucking up and you guys don't want to look bad and you're kind of covering your own asses and keeping it the old good boy system, and, you know, doing some paperwork and then, you know, pushing it under the rug. Like, y'all gotta police each other.
Yeah,
that was the biggest fucking thing. So it's just like, it's, you know,
it gets me. I mean, I've been saying this for so long now that it I sound like a broken record at times. Where I'm like, you know, again, for me, dude, given all that's happened through all of this shit, it's got to be on the police to figure shit out. To make amends with these disenfranchised groups and for all the people who they've abused and tortured over the years. It's on the police. And for the life of me, I can't understand how the police sort of still don't see it that way. And that there's still bootlickers out there. They're, you know, if you just listen to what the cop says, everything will be all right. Bullshit.
No.
Like I said last week on this show, the threshold for what it takes to get murdered by a cop is going down and down and down. And the argument to it is, well, white people, the fuck are you talking about? Nobody should be killed by a cop unless you're trying to shoot the cop or you're trying to shoot someone else and the cop shoots you first. Otherwise, they got to stop killing people.
Everybody.
We should all be on that train that they cops stop fucking murdering everybody, man. Damn.
You know, use your proper training, and even then, like, it just shows. Even with the proper training, people are still gonna do what the fuck they want. And now this is the point. Like, hopefully this sets the precedent for cops all around. Yes, I get it. You guys have a fucking hard job. But with that hard job comes a lot of maturity that's needed. And like a lot of responsibility that, like, once again, a lot of these young guys aren't ready for. They're ready for the badge. They're ready for the respect. They're ready to don that respect and don that badge. But they're not really ready to put in the fucking work. It's being an officer is a lot more than just fucking getting in your car, writing tickets, and being a fucking badass. Check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
You should probably have the smallest ego being a fucking officer.
You'd think. Humble's not really something I feel like they push at the police academy, being humble. I don't feel like that's not high on the priority list.
No, because they're fucking, they've got a badge. They're hiding behind the badge now. You know what I'm saying? When you got one of the biggest gangs behind, backing you, it's easy to succumb to false ego and, humiliation. So it is what it is. No, it is not what it is. Derek Chauvin, I hope you fucking rot in prison. I hope they throw the fucking book at you. I'm not one to take somebody's life, so I won't wish the death penalty, but I hope you feel like you're dying every day while you're sitting in jail or prison, wondering, where the fuck you went wrong. Let's see here. Cops have, last thing on here, Sketchy says, cops have too much unchecked power and they don't want to give it up. Police reform is overdue and needs to make our society a better place. A lot of the current cops shouldn't be. Very, very true. Very, very true.
Rob, but like you said earlier, look, there's a lot of great cops out there. And, it's unfortunate that there's so many shitty cops. And again, my point of contention has been for such a long time now, I can't for the life of me understand why the good cops don't say to the shitty cops, you can't be a cop here anymore. You're making us all look bad. I just don't understand why they don't do that, because it's people have kind of had it with the police.
Very true.
And it's funny when you think about, the idea that there were many people on the right who, Rob, were suggesting that the FBI was the bad guys, that they were working against Donald Trump.
Mm.
Yeah, and how quick people were to buy into that shit.
Super easy.
Like, right? Even the people who, again, the bootlickers, if you like, even those people are quick to turn on those dudes,
Because they're just looking for something to fucking, they're just looking for the next best thing to follow. They're trolls in their own way, right? So they're looking for the next thing to be all fucking. I guess you could really play it on both sides, right? You just look for the next best thing to hop on, whatever you're, whoever's popular in that sector, and just jump the bandwagon. If it's not one, it'd be another.
It always is.
Always fucking is.
Always is.
Just like there's always going to be another episode of I'll Piss You Off shortly. I was going to talk about Georgia and their new Jim Crow laws, but I kind of want to let this play out because a lot of big businesses are starting to threaten the cancellation of Georgia. Like we see the MLB has pulled the All-Star game, or has threatened to pull the All-Star game. I think recently they actually said, we're going to pull it this summer out of Atlanta.
They did pull it. Let me ask you this, because you're unusual a lot of the times in that I feel like I can never really gauge where your mind is at.
Okay.
Do you agree or disagree? Or is this Jared was saying earlier on Divided We Stand? Is this just bottom line, or are these companies getting woke? Are they honestly feeling social justice, or
is it a ploy? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. In my mindset, I call bullshit on a lot of these companies, right? So and the reason why I call bullshit, I look at the MLB, right? The MLB is primarily made up of white and Hispanic players, right? Not too many black fucking players.
You're right.
Right? So, not to say, and that's the thing, not to say that there aren't black players or something like that. So, like, what are you doing to promote more black athletes joining the MLB? Or what are you doing to scout more? You know what I'm saying? Maybe there aren't that many black baseball players. I don't know. I've never been a baseball fan.
It's
right, but
honestly,
this is also. Go ahead.
Yeah, 9% of the league is black, which is obviously incredibly low in a professional sport.
So now, where was the MLB the past 6 years? Where's the MLB been? You know what I mean? Where they've been for anything else? I don't remember seeing a lot of support for Black lives during all this stuff. Not saying they had to support Black Lives Matter, but where was all this noise at earlier? What are you doing to? Okay, so you're moving the All-Star game to another city. Are you moving it now to like a predominantly black city? Another predominantly black city? Or are you going to move it to like LA? Or are you going to move it, you know what I'm saying? Or are you going to move it to like Texas? Or you know what I mean? Are you going to put it in a city where there's impoverished areas that can actually benefit? Or you know what I mean? Or what funding are you giving? You know what I'm saying? Like don't just pull from Georgia and then be right back. You know what I'm saying? After a couple days or a couple months, not a couple days, but maybe one or two. Like literally do some shit that motherfuckers are gonna feel this shit, right? Even for Coca-Cola, and all that shit. They're like Coca-Cola. For anybody that doesn't know, if you go to fucking Atlanta and you can find a Pepsi, congratulations. Like a fountain, not saying a bottle, but like a fountain fucking Pepsi. Good luck. Like Coca-Cola is home of Atlanta. Like Atlanta is the home of Coca-Cola. So for Coca-Cola to be threatening, that's a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of money to be getting pulled out of your state. And what a lot of people don't realize is that Atlanta is the fucking hub of the South. Like Atlanta is pretty much the East Coast LA. So like that's a lot of money that's in Atlanta. So you know what I mean? Delta Airlines, that's another major fucking major corporation. Hubbed out of Atlanta. That what you get Delta to cancel business out there? Hartsfield is shit. Hartsfield is probably cut into like half of its working force. You know what I mean? But then also, right, you look at this, you kind of think about these things. You cancel the All-Star game. That's taking jobs out of the urban community as well. Those are a lot of workers that now won't be able to have the opportunity to work. So maybe there's other things that you can do to restructure things. Or maybe, hey, how about like instead of canceling the fucking All-Star game, you go ahead and have it and some of those funds go to getting buses and getting transportation and getting provisions made for when it comes to election time in Georgia. Don't just cancel the shit.
I don't know which of their senators, if it was Warnock or ours, whatever his name is, Osnoff, whatever their two names are, the two. I my apologies. I honestly just can't remember their names offhand. One of them said, it's a shame these businesses are penalizing. It's a shame that this is going to penalize the businesses of Atlanta and not the Republican politicians who are 100% responsible for putting these laws into place. They knew what was going to happen, Rob. They knew full well their governor was running his fucking mouth talking about, liberal lies. You're trying to stop people from fucking voting. And again, this is like with the cops shooting people. I don't give a fuck what color they are. When you're making it more restrictive to fucking vote, that's anti-American. Brian Kemp, you big piece of fucking shit.
Oh, he's going to feel this shit come November 8th, 2020.
I don't think we could be any more clear here that when you're fucking with people's voting rights, I don't care what party's doing it. I don't care what people they're doing it to. Fuck that. That's the slippery slope I don't want to ever go down, where we start disenfranchising certain voters because we don't fucking like the way they vote. You know what? Get better policies. If the Republican Party wasn't viewed as so fucking racist, they actually would have won the election.
Facts.
They would have had the president. They would have had the Senate. But instead, they're so fucking racist, and asking them to dial it back just a little bit is so fucking hard. It's shocking.
And the fact that they had to do this in closed quarters, closed doors, says a lot. You knew you were fucked up. You knew what y'all were writing was fucked up. You didn't want the public to see that. So I challenge everybody in Georgia, especially in the Atlanta area, like, get them the fuck out of this office. And I think that's really, well, first and foremost, they're scared. They know that they have to do this to have them have any chance of winning again. I don't see him winning again in 2022, but it's just like, you got to be stupid to be trying to get this shit done, put in place. So now what happens when y'all lose and Georgia becomes a fucking blue state, a real blue state at the state level? I think Georgia becoming a blue state at the state level is more impactful and more empowering than them becoming a blue state for the presidential election. Because now it's not just the metro area. You've impacted the whole state of Georgia. And outside of Savannah and Atlanta, we saw the colors on the votes. Atlanta, Savannah was blue. Everything else was red. So imagine whenever the whole state goes fucking blue. Y'all are fucked. And then they're gonna wonder why. And then the same party that's so about, human rights and preserving rights. Once again, it's only the rights of certain people that they want to preserve, not the rights of everybody. But this is supposed to be fucking America. Sketchy asks, why are Republicans calling the MLB cancel culture? The MLB is a private business and can have their games whenever. These businesses are only coming to the forefront now due to public pressure. Agreed. And that's the other thing. Like, the Republicans push on or like attack against cancel culture. They're such hypocrites. It's only cancel culture when they're not canceling, right?
Right. Yes.
So, but now you guys are canceling us. You're quieting us, and then Nike doesn't have anything to do with the Satan shoe. It's actually like a whole different release, and now Republicans are calling for the cancellation of Nike. You guys are again for the second time. Y'all canceled them because of the dad shoe. Now you're canceling because of make your fucking mind. And you're right. You're right, Peasant. This shit is not fucking cancellation if it's a private business saying we don't want to do business here anymore. It's not cancellation. It's just saying, hey, get your shit right. But once again, to me, it's a publicity stunt. And then Sketchy goes, Republicans can have suppressing marginalized groups for centuries, or have been suppressing marginalized groups for centuries. America should want to expand voting and make it easier for people. Republicans are on their last leg and can't fight fair. Well said. Well said. They're literally swinging and trying to grab whatever else they have left to hopefully they can save themselves. But is this the end of the Republican Party? No. But I do feel like there's going to be some kind of split, and we possibly might see the build of new parties. Republicans canceled Liz Cheney when she voted to impeach Trump. They are hypocrites. Hey, the land of the hypocrites. Thank you, Republicans. Not to say the Dems are doing any better, because Biden is on my radar next week. I'm too tired of getting to Biden and then Hunter Biden, which I didn't know. I just found out. I was today years old, literally today years old, when I found out that Hunter Biden was a nasty fuck and had a whole scandal with his his dead brother's wife. So yeah, the Bidens are definitely on my agenda for next week. So
whether Hunter Biden did anything illegal in the Ukraine with Burisma, whether he did or he didn't, whether there's some shit on that fucking laptop that Rudy Giuliani found or not, all that aside, okay, Hunter Biden is an asshole. And yes, literally when his brother died, started banging his brother's wife. I don't know the intimate details of how that happened, but it's fucked up no matter how you slice it. Sorry.
Facts. All right. Well, I guess I don't have anything in rotation this week. To be honest, I will say, matter of fact, for in rotation, go ahead and check out some Earth, Wind, and Fire. Go check out some Isley Brothers. Do that. Do yourself some justice. Do yourself a favor and, do your ear some justice and listen to some good old oldies.
Why can't
What's
you
up?
just maybe what do you lay flowers on DMX? Can we do that instead?
No, I don't. I mean, yeah, I don't want to lay flowers on him because he's still here. He's still alive. He's still pumping. We can also. I'll also say here we go. Listen to Earth, Wind, anything Earth, Wind, and Fire, anything Isley Brothers, and then go ahead and bring in your morning with "It's Dark and Hell is Hot Tomorrow," and then end your day, end your week, end your Friday with "Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood," and I promise you'll have a good rest of the week.
I like it.
Promise you. There's 5 questions I'm gonna ask. We'll go 2 or 3. Somebody said they wanted to ask us funny questions to get to know us better. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll ask. Do you have any crazy roommate stories?
Oh shit. Yeah. The time I fucking dropped my air conditioner out the window.
Jesus.
And it landed on a cat. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. Dude, I literally it was late fall, might even have been winter. We're taking the fucking air conditioner out of the window finally. And my buddy's holding it with his fingers on the edge, and I'm like, hold that shit tight. I'm gonna pop that open. You gotta hold it there. Because the thing weighed a ton. I'm like, I'll pull it in. Rob, as soon as I fucking hit the window and it went up, dude's fingers just went like boop, and out it went. It fell from the 2nd floor. I swear it was so crazy. All you heard was ow!
I thought cats were supposed to have quick reflexes.
Dude, this thing just clearly, I mean, it was a big unit. He was a little cat. I don't think he had a chance. I don't think he had a chance. That thing came down on him so fast, and he was donezo. It was the saddest thing in the world.
Jeez.
Also, that same roommate started stealing my clothes and dressing like me in some kind of like single white female weirdo bullshit.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so we're not friends anymore.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. Let's see.
Yeah.
Me, I don't know if I had like a crazy one. Me and an ex-roommate, we were moving out of a house that we had. And so for my epic birthday party, I don't know if I've ever told you the epic birthday party. The mix between the strip club and then we had like a house party that was like out of this world. But anyways, so part of it, I found glow in the dark spray paint, but it was like, yeah, it was glow in the dark. So you couldn't see it, of course, until the lights were off and it was dark. So had this party. My roommate kept telling me, yo, we got to paint this wall. So like a year later, we ended up moving out. Never painted the wall, but the paint like kind of died down, like the glow of it lost its kind of power. Mm-hmm. So sure shit, we're closing out, moved everything out. It's like 8:30 at night when we're handing over the keys again to the house. We're walking out the house. I'm walking out. I'm last, and as we shut the lights off, guess what we see? All the writing on the white wall that we forgot to paint, and luckily the real estate person didn't see it.
Oh, that's hilarious!
And it was like yeah. Rob's B-Day 2014 or some shit. Like it was. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. We had like stars and shit. Oh yeah, we like graffitied the wall just in. Yeah, so we lucked out of that.
Nice.
Out of that fee. What's the story of your first crush?
First crush, good Lord. If I'm not mistaken, I think she's a lesbian now. But I was 5 years old. Yeah, I love this girl to death. We're still kind of friendly. Okay. She lives out on the West Coast now. But yeah, I was 5 years old. She's still to this day at 45 very attractive. But she looked like Minnie Mouse when I was a kid. She's kind of a mousy face, but I've always found that kind of sexy.
Okay. Mine was elementary school. 5th grade graduation. It was summer break. You know, we all graduate 5th grade. We were all at the playground. This one girl that I wanted to date for a little, you know, I wanted to be my girlfriend. She asked me, "Oh, will you go out with me this summer?" Yes. So then my crush, like 10 minutes later, had asked me. I was like, yeah. So I broke up with the other girl, went out with my crush for like 2 days. Never saw her again because I went to another middle school, lost contact. So literally maybe 2 years before my divorce. So like a little bit before I actually got married, because I was only married the second time for a year. The other time, well, the first time wasn't even a whole year. But anyways, so like I found her on Facebook. And she had sent me a friend request, and I was like, holy shit, I haven't heard this name in like 20 years. So, you know what I mean? Nothing like we contacted, like we messaged each other once, just, you know, catch up, nothing crazy out the blue. And then I was single. And I was like, shit, I'm gonna hit her up. She must have deleted her Facebook, can't find her, can't do anything. So she's still out there. Initials TT. So if I ever get single again, maybe I might go try and find her. It was funny.
I love it.
Good. I still remember my first kiss too. This is crazy. Actually, me and my first kiss are friends on Facebook to this day. It's funny. Soon as hey Jeremy, what's up, brother? What's up, JT? JT says, as soon as I join, the cat's dead and Joe's getting his clothes stolen. Oh man, you missed a good
perfect
episode,
time.
brother.
Yeah,
Perfect
really.
time. We'll go one more question, I guess. What's the strangest family tradition in your family?
Strangest family tradition. Ah, Jesus. Let's see. Well, I don't know if it's the strangest, but my new family tradition is like literally the whitest thing of all white. We go to the Cape every year.
Oh, that's white.
No.
That's pretty white.
Let me give you
Especially,
one.
That's New England white. That's super New England white.
We go out to Provincetown for the day, where it's super, you know, it's for day.
Yeah.
And we always have dinner at the Lobster Pot.
Super white.
Dude,
super white.
So let me first of all, from Pete Town to our house in the Cape, it's like a 45-minute ride. Okay. This is like you're going from literally like where the Cape necks out to like the tip. It's like 45 minutes, dude. Literally, you can't go any further. Like you get to the end and you're like, North America's done. So it's like a 45-minute ride. We spend the whole day there. And there's a lot of Portuguese there, so you can imagine I enjoy. But it's an entire day of looking at shit. You know what I mean? Like really, again, getting back to that artsy. It's my wife is chiming in now. Come on. But it is literally, it is the whitest of white experiences. It's 45 minutes to get there, and then a whole day of walking around. And honestly, if it wasn't for all the Portuguese flags, I don't know that I would have the strength to do it.
I can feel you. Like, I feel like once you've been to one of those Cape towns, you're like one of those seaside towns, you've seen them all. Like they all have the, you know, the shops, the small business stores. You get your local, you know, Cape shirt. Then you got your little eateries. Then you got, you know, your small boutique dress stops. Then you might have a small toy store. Of course, you have your ice cream parlor, and you know, just the same. Your antique stores, the same old, same old.
How many Cape Cod sweatshirts do you think I own?
I would probably say 20 plus throughout all your years, and that's
I'd say roughly. I'd say roughly. You're in the neighborhood. You are in the neighborhood. I get them in Hyannis. I get them in Provincetown. I get them in Sandwich.
One every year, maybe two, depending if you can catch a good 2 for sale.
Dude, no shit. That is absolutely fact. Like we again, this is one of those things where every year I love my wife, and I hope she understands I'm having some fun here because already I see
all jokes.
No, the worst was I got gout when we went to Hyannis one time. Yeah,
that's
and my
worst.
wife made me walk through Hyannis, and she was like, "Stop being a bitch," and I was like. I think there's something wrong with me. And I literally a whole day I walked on my foot with gout. Just so my wife wouldn't be pissed. And I tried to, be as like JFK about it as I could. I was like, I'm going to get right through lunch today.
Yo, me and you can never have a gout episode at the same time. Because so that's another crazy roommate story. I forgot about that one. There's another roommate. So when I found out before I found out I had gout, hard weekend of partying. And this is when I was drinking heavy. And part of the reason why I don't drink now. Went to bed, woke up to do PT. No, this was a Sunday. Woke up and it felt like my roommate was just like he broke my foot. Like I was like, dude, what the fuck did you do to me? Like while I was sleeping, like I can't walk. Like it feels like my foot's broken, my toes are fucking broke. So literally, I went like 3 days before I even went to go see like medical attention about it. Because of course, you take some ibuprofen and it eases a little bit, right? So I took some ibuprofen. 3 days later, they finally go get tested. And they're like, yeah, your uric acid levels are high. You've got gout. What the fuck is gout? They're like, yeah, it's an old rich man disease. Oh,
what the fuck is uric acid too?
Exactly.
Right? Like, what is
I'm like,
that
what?
shit? Never even heard of it.
Oh man, so I think I made myself. I hurt myself for probably like a good year and a half because I was still just like, fuck it, red meat drinking. I'm gonna keep going. But I had it timed. I think what really made me like chill out was when they started like putting me on like the colchicine and shit like that. Like the colchicine, I like pissed my bed like 3 times on that shit. And then like you had the shits all the time. I was like, no, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? And then they had me on indomethacin for a little bit. But I've gone the holistic route. My herbal medicine helps. I definitely cut back on like my red meat and stuff like that. But like, I think I haven't had a flare up, knock on wood, in like a year and a half, almost 2. So
my wife gets so pissed when I say this, but my female doctor, who's had both gout and given birth, said the pain from gout is on par with giving birth.
Labor?
That's what she said. She's got 3 kids. She's a woman, and she had both of those things.
See? Hey.
It hurts.
We'll leave it there. You heard it first. Right here on I'll Piss You Off Shortly. Well, appreciate you guys as always for kicking it with us. Shit, we've got a 3-hour one today. You guys have always been faithful. Appreciate you guys as always.
Back on track, Rob.
Back on track. We're here. Better than ever. Keep going. It's coming. Like as I was doing the script earlier, I was like, shit, this is episode 37. We're almost at 52, and 52 means like a whole year of this thing.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
So we're fucking creeping. It does seem like the 30s kind of drug a little bit. Like the 30s are kind of dragging. I don't know. Maybe just to me. It seems like we've been in 30s for a little bit, but we're kicking. Hey, a lot of people don't make it past episode 25, so we're already surpassed them.
When do you get to your 40s? That drags too.
Oh, jeez. Hey, we're almost there. And we're almost there because of you guys. Thank you guys for always showing your support. Make sure you guys check us every Monday night at 9 p.m. Make sure you guys are also helping us out, spending that digital currency, making sure you guys are sharing, liking, subscribing, all that jazz. Make sure you guys are going out. If you're listening to all of our audio listeners, give us the 5 stars. Give us a review. That's going to push our algorithms, however you say that shit, out to everybody else, to the masses, so they can say it. Appreciate you, Sketchy. Keep great show as always. We're trying to keep Connecticut classy as best as we can. You guys know where to find us at I'll Piss You Off Shortly on all social media platforms. I'll piss you off shortly on all podcast platforms, wherever you hear your podcast. I'll piss you off, $ I'll piss you off shortly for Cash App. If you guys want to show us some love, make sure you guys do that. But as always, please take a number. We'll piss you off shortly. I'm Rob Benjamin, Joe Aguirre. Good night.
One day. I'm going to get it right one day. Hey, remember how many times you used to do the messages for your voicemail? It goes something like this. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for locking into another episode of I'll Piss You Off Shortly. This is the podcast where we debate everyday issues, pushing your thought process beyond what's normal. The topics discussed here are meant to be intense, promote growth, and at times may have you feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Me too, a little bit. We may not always agree, and we will more than likely have varied opinions. But with that being said, I can't promise to be your favorite podcaster. Neither do I want to. But I can promise to be transparent, fair, and open-minded. So please, if you think you've got the stamina, passion to debate, analyze, and challenge the normal, please take a number. I promise you, I'll piss you off shortly. Hey mama,